Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
This week, in Richmond, Vermont, a terrible person does so many terrible things but slips through the legal cracks until he finally commits a most vile crime that he might not be able to get himself out of. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder. Yay! Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another insane episode of Small Town Murder. We will not let you down this week. This is another, boy. Yeah, there's sometimes we have the ones where somebody, like, last week we had the wife swap episode where that kid seemed like fine. He's playing bluegrass music and talking about Jesus, and the next thing you know, he's butchering the family. I think it's insane. You have that just pops out of nowhere. Then you have this episode and ones like this where it's just an awful person that does awful things for their entire awful life until somebody puts them in a place where it's impossible to do any more awful things.
Well, at least to us.
At least to the outside world, yeah. So it's a lot. So we'll check all that out. But before we get to that, just want to say, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Yeah. Tickets available for all the live shows for 2024. There's 12 live shows. Actually, right now, let's just say there's 10 because two of them are sold out at this point. Mm-hmm. Get your tickets now. Get them early. I'm telling you, Boston and New York in December are already selling very well. So get everything quickly. April 5th and 6th is Sacramento, San Francisco. You're first up. Let's start this off right. And Minneapolis, this show, if you sell this bad boy out, will be our biggest live show ever. So right now it's Chicago. So you're trying to beat Chicago. So right now people go, what's your biggest show you've ever done? Chicago. Wouldn't you like us to say Minneapolis? You can make that happen. Get them right now. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, 420 virtual live show. That's right, baby. It's back. People who can't get to a live show, maybe you're on another continent or in a state we're not coming to, you can get the virtual live show, though. 420. Those tickets are going to be on sale very soon here in February, so keep your eye out for those, and social media will let you know when those are available. So they will be also shutupandgivememurder.com. Get those. Also, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, they did an update. It was a weird thing, and the shows now don't automatically download unless you make that your setting. So if you've wondered why my shows aren't automatically downloading, that's why.
That's why.
Go in there, fix that setting, and then it'll automatically download for you. So do that. That's a lot of fun. Patreon.com. It's fun to adjust your settings, isn't it?
Yes.
Patreon.com/crime and sports. That's all your bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above. You get everything. A couple hundred episodes of a back catalog. New ones every other week. One crime and sports. One small town murder. You get it all. This week, what you're going to get for crime and sports, we're going to talk about the strangest injuries in sports history.
Great.
These are some weird stuff. You don't even have to like sports, trust me, to like that. And then for Small Town Murder, this is back by popular demand. We are going into the old-timey murders archive here, where we dip back into the newspaper archives and find some crazy batshit old murders and that are described extremely graphically in old newspapers. So that's a lot of fun. We'll talk all about that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And, of course, listen to Crime and Sports while you're out there. And, of course, Your Stupid Opinions, our new podcast, which is goddamn hilarious. Listen to that every Monday morning as well. That said, disclaimer, it's a comedy show. We're comedians. We're going to tell jokes. That's not saying that we made stuff up to make it funny or anything. It's 100% true. Unfortunately, the stories couldn't be more true. We wish we were making the stuff up, and we're not, though. So that's how that goes. What we do, though, is we go out of our way to not make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Right. Why is that, James?
Because we're assholes.
But
we're not scumbags. That's how that goes. So if that sounds good to you, you're going to hear wild stories every damn week, twice a week. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever go together, maybe you won't like the show. I don't know. Maybe you will, though. Either way, no bitching later. I think it's time. Give it a chance. I think it's time, everybody, now to sit back. Let's all clear the lungs here. Arms to the sky, and let's all shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, everyone. What do you say? Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. We're going all the way up to Vermont this week.
Okay.
Yes, Vermont. And this is in northwestern Vermont. So kind of way up there by Canada and, kind of upper New York over there. It's in that region. This is syrup country.
Oh, boy.
This is pretty rural area, except that Burlington is also up here, which is
that's nice.
The biggest city. But once you get outside of a city, and when you think of a city, it's not the same in Vermont as you're thinking of somewhere else too. Yeah. Vermont's just a different kind of place.
It's fascinating.
It's really weird. It's like a giant, like woodsy resort. It's a very, you know what I mean? Like
the resorts are fucking gorgeous.
They're nice, yeah. And then there's also like it's also half Deliverance though. That's the other part of it because it's like God, it's like the woods.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Super Troopers was based in Vermont. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot. It's just a lot of weird stuff going on up there, but beautiful, beautiful country.
I've been to Woodstock. That place is fantastic.
Vermont? They have a Woodstock in Vermont too?
They got a Woodstock, Vermont.
Interesting. All right. That must be very confusing for people.
It is entirely different from that hippie version we've seen in newspapers.
That's not even in Woodstock.
No?
No. The Woodstock didn't take place in Woodstock. It's nowhere near Woodstock.
No. Hilarious.
Woodstock took place in Bethel, which is nowhere near there. Woodstock, the town, you go there, it's all hippie-ish. And you're like, people will say, "Where's the concert?" And it was like, I don't know, an hour over there, 40 miles that way. That's where it was.
Woodstock, Vermont is legit. It's very rich people with beautiful things.
Interesting.
It's just gorgeous.
So I
can't afford it.
No. This is 17 minutes, so 20 minutes or so to Burlington, so right outside there. About a half hour to Montpelier, which is the capital of the state, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And then 2 hours and 15 minutes to Townshend, which was our last Vermont episode 408. Never saw that coming. All the Vermont ones are weird, so you want to check that out. And Townshend will come up, or Townsend, whatever it was. That'll come up this episode because our guy ends up doing some stuff there too. This is in Chittenden County, area code 802. Little bit of history here. The first attempt at a settlement in this area was in 1775.
And then what?
And didn't stick, probably. And it didn't. There's guys named Amos Brownson and John Chamberlain. They came in and they were like, we're going to do this. We're going to settle this bitch. And then they abandoned that in the fall of the same year. So it lasted a couple months. It gets
cold around
Jesus
October.
Man,
it's going to get worse.
Snowing. Yeah, they came back in the spring of 1784. So 9 years later, they're like, want to give it another run? That was after the Revolutionary War, too, because the war was going on after that.
Sure.
So, and it was incorporated in 1794, the town was, and they had water mills and shit like that. Industries began popping up in the 1800s. They manufactured... These are all things that nobody uses anymore, really, is what they manufacture. So that's why there's no manufacturing now. They manufactured wagons, harnesses, tinware, brass, cabinet work, and, quote, woodenware.
Yeah, they manufactured the 1780s.
They manufactured 1835 is what they manufactured.
That's it.
That's it. Exactly.
After that, it's, boy, is this place obsolete.
Otherwise, it's just the Amish coming to them for things. So it's noted for the Round Church, which is a 16-sided meeting house that they put up in 1812.
Okay.
16-sided. And you can see the sides very clearly from the outside, but apparently inside it feels rounder. That's why they call it the round. Yeah. Okay. So today it's open to the public and people go to watch and look at it and sit in there, basically. It was a church for a long time and all that. There was a public health controversy here in 2022.
Uh-oh.
The town's water superintendent had to resign after he admitted that he had, without notifying city officials, lowered the water's fluoride levels, fluoridation levels.
We didn't have enough?
To less than half the recommended by state to protect health. So he confessed that he had done so since 2011 without seeking permission, and they immediately voted to restore everything up to public health, recommendations, and he quit.
Did he say why?
Who knows? He's probably a conspiracy theorist or something. I don't know. Who knows? So here's reviews of the town, because we've never been there. We don't know.
Never. Yeah.
Here's 5 stars. Let's find out what they think here. Richmond is a small, family-oriented town. We hear that should be the opening of every one of these. It's always it's a small, family-oriented town.
We get it. Yeah.
It's about a half hour south of the largest city in Vermont. The residents know their neighbors and always have a cup of sugar that can be borrowed.
Is that right?
Ain't that quaint?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's just.
I get what they're saying, but
that
sounds weird.
Yeah, you always welcome to have a cup of sugar at my house. Bring over like a cup with like a cow on it. You know what I mean? One of those, like a cow face on the front. And...
there's a measuring cup that's exactly one cup on everybody's front step, just in case you need it.
It's my sugar borrowing cup. Get it all ready. It's far from a vacation spot, but if you're looking for a place to move to, it can't be beat.
Oh.
So apparently they're looking for people here. 4 stars. Beautiful town. You can have country living, but with a busy and thriving downtown area. Okay. Schools are good. Local amenities include a decent grocery store. Not a great one. Decent.
Yeah,
local ski area. Yeah, skiing is huge in Vermont. And Winooski River. Commute time to Burlington is 25 to 30 minutes. Williston is only 7 miles. Oh, thank fuck. Well, if Williston's close by. Has anyone that's listening who's not from Vermont ever heard of Williston? Never. Why would you put that?
But it's right there, James.
It's only 7 miles away. The other shit small town next to us.
The other one you never heard of.
Wow. Airport not far. That's good. Fantastic place to raise a family. Not the place to be if you're looking for nightlife, but Burlington has plenty. Oh, I'm sure it's just
right there.
Rocking. 3 stars, give or take. Most places don't last long in this area. especially if their food is too expensive and the portion sizes are small. Most people prefer to make their own food, as locally grown food is abundant here. That's the town. That's that person just...
We got farms. We don't eat out.
We got farms. Restaurants don't last long unless you give a pile of slop. And
there's no way there's direct flights from Burlington.
No. Burlington
way,
is
right?
like when we were looking around in Maine and we're like, from Bangor you can connect anywhere. I think it's
or Portland.
That's a connector. Yeah, from Burlington you can go to New York and then you can fly to where you want from there. Philly or Boston or whatever.
It's probably Philly. I'll bet it's Philly.
Probably.
Boston doesn't even fucking go anywhere.
No, Boston's awful for connections.
That is
direct flights.
Crazy
it's terrible.
how nowhere it goes.
Boston and Phoenix is the same way. Phoenix
for
and
being
Boston.
For being cities that are in places that people go.
Cities. Top 10 cities in the country.
Our airport doesn't fucking go anywhere.
You got to stop in Salt Lake if you want to go anywhere. Great.
You're going to stop in fucking Texas and get stranded there for 3 days.
Yeah, I enjoy being in Dallas, as Jimmie has. Here's 1 star. Yeah. There really aren't any bars in Richmond except for the pizza place, Papa McKee's.
Papa McKee's is the happening joint.
Let's unpack this. First of all, the only bar in town is a pizza place, which not known for their bars. And second of all, their pizza place is Papa Irish Guy, which is not what you want from your pizza either. Oh, McKee, you must make a great pizza.
Why is it always Papa something?
I don't know. He's probably just trying to glom onto Papa John's.
Mama and Papa.
Yeah, Mama. Well, Mama makes sense because that you hear Mama something, you hear, Mom's coming with the big Italian mom with a big thing of food.
Mama makes good food. Papa doesn't make good food.
No, Papa McKee sounds like he beats his children, and he's like a corrupt town police chief who beats McKee beats his children.
Papa says open the freezer and put something in the microwave. Yeah. That's what Papa says.
This Papa don't preach, I'll tell you that much. No. The grocery store does spirit tastings and wine tastings sometimes.
Oh, that's fun.
This guy's like, here's all the places you can find booze in town. The pizza place.
House with the pizza or with fucking grapes.
Put like a hat on and keep coming back for more samples. Put some sunglasses on, go back through the line again. You can get a buzz.
Mustache and head on down and get a glass of wine.
You can catch a buzz at the grocery store if you have to, you know. Population of this town, 4,142. So not a huge place, not big at all. Male, female, few more males than females, actually, which is the opposite of what it usually is. Yeah. Median age here is older than the average here. It's 45.2. It's normally about 37 in the rest of the country. 60% married, low divorce rate, not a lot of people single with children. You get what we're getting at here. It's a family type place. Race of this town, pretty basic here. 95.3% white, which it's Vermont. It's just white people in Vermont. 0.0% black. Not a black person in town.
Yeah.
2.2% Asian. 0.4% Hispanic.
This is very Vermont.
This is Vermont. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Religion here, 39% religious in this town. The highest amount is going to be, of course, Catholic because, as we know, Catholics are the Baptists of the North. 1% Jewish. Holy shit. Wow. We get to sing for once. Let's do it.
At this.
Hava Nagila. Hava Nagila. Hava Nagila. I don't know the words. Hey. There we go. All right. In this county, Chittenden County, last election, 75.8% voted Democrat, 21.2% Republican, 3% Independent. The unemployment rate here is insanely low. Right. Like bad low because there's not enough people. 2.2%, which is
that's
fucking nothing. That's nothing. Yeah.
Wow, everybody's working.
Usually though, but like 4 is healthy for because that way there's still, that's even pushing to where we're like, hey, there's not going to be people we need for jobs over here. Like 5% is a good unemployment rate that works for not for those 5%, but for everybody else though it works.
Works everybody in and out of the system.
2.2 not good here. Mathematically that's how it works. Median household income here is high also. $105,625 a year, which is
that's Vermont.
Well over the national average.
These people fucking figure it out, man.
You're going to pay for it too to live in this beautiful area. Cost of living here, 100 is average. Here it's 112.
Okay.
Median home cost here, $447,400. That is expensive. That is
Jesus Christ.
Very expensive. But you know what? If you've stashed away a bunch of maple syrup money and you are ready to make a run at it, we have for you the Richmond, Vermont Real Estate Report. The average two-bedroom rental here goes for about $1,440 a month. So that's higher than the national average. Yeah.
Very high.
Here's a bargain for you, I guess, if you want to consider it that way. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 924-foot trailer. So it's a trailer. Looks like it's in a trailer park-ish, but like a nicer trailer park.
Okay. They got patios?
Yeah, like they're landscaped, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's like the nicer ones. It's one of the nice...
Definitive ends to lots that are all have manicured landscaping.
Like there's nicer ones in Phoenix that are like the old people ones, you know what I mean? They're like, they're kept nice. It's one of those. The outside could use some help. It looks like shit on the outside. Inside is clean, but... you know, just very outdated. It just looks like it's a trailer from the 80s, basically. But not terrible for what the price is compared to everything else. $89,000 for it.
Yeah, that's just a family trying to sell off Grandma's shitbox
That's it.
she died in. Yeah.
She died there, It's the dead grandma special of the week, everybody.
There it is.
Here is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,206-foot square foot house. It's actually a house. It's not great, but it's not wonderful. Inside, the colors, you're going to need to paint everything. Like, there's one room's like half purple, half red. One's like, it looks like a bunch of like rival high schools painted these rooms.
Really?
You're like, paint our colors in the 3rd bedroom.
Get that golden blue going.
Yeah, really weird floors. I don't even know what they're made of. Just weird. They're like black with like marks all over them. I don't know what the hell they're even made out of. Very weird floors. $319,000 for that.
For a lot of work.
A lot of work. You're going to have to put a lot in. And then if you don't want to have a lot of work here, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,236 square feet. This is on 10 acres.
Hell yes.
So this is nice. It's in Jericho, which is right nearby, as we'll find out. It's a little farmhouse. It's not even that little. It's nice. It's got really nice built-in cabinets in the dining room. Old school charm, basically.
Sure.
Beautiful stuff, exposed beams, good shit. $899,000 for that, though. But for 10 acres,
that's incredible.
For 10 acres, that's not bad.
In Vermont,
in upper Vermont, there, it's pretty.
Yikes,
so,
man.
Things to do here. Well, what are you going to do when you get here besides go to Papa McKee's and?
Oh, you're going to be outdoorsy a lot.
Get yourself some shit here. How about the Richmond Harvest Festival?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what's going on. Yeah, you're gonna walk around and smell things that are apple-y. You know,
there's livestock there.
Livestock, definitely some apple cider. I'm feeling maple things. Enjoy a local lunch, delicious desserts, live music, a silent auction, and a shop from local vendors. What can you get there? Honey, maple syrup, local meat, cheese, eggs, fish, and veggies. You know,
an actual market.
An actual market. All the proceeds benefit the Farm to School program, helping them purchase local food and provide farm food and nutrition education in classrooms. So they feed their kids up there like actual local produce and shit. It's not just like the Cisco truck pulls up and gives you a shitload of frozen burger patties and that's that.
My daughter told me that they have Bosco sticks at school and that everybody loves them. What the fuck is that? I said. She told me what it was. It's prison food. It's a stick with like a breadstick with shit inside. It's like what you would. Bosco stick sounds like what you'd
drop those in an area of people that have been impoverished.
Slide them through a fucking slot in a metal door.
There you go. No lunch today. You get a Bosco.
I'd much rather have this shit. This sounds wonderful.
This is pumpkin soup they have. This is the lunch menu. Pumpkin soup with cheddar rosemary focaccia bread.
What?
Bacon mac and cheese with a cornbread crust. Count me the fuck in on that. I love it, bacon mac and cheese. Roasted vegetable quinoa with a maple ginger dressing and mini apple cinnamon cakes, which I'm allergic to, and they sound so good and I want to eat them, but I can't.
Everything but the quinoa sounds magical.
That sounds great, and you can do activities including grinding corn. Ever wanted to grind up some corn, Jimmy? Well, here's the time to do it. Bike-powered smoothies. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I guess you
pedal
like
and it makes
drive
it.
And,
that's how the blenders work.
Make it turn.
I don't know. Make pizza. Just make pizza.
Okay, yeah.
And crafts and much more.
It's very hands-on.
Yeah, it's a farmy type.
Keep you busy.
Yeah, it sounds nice. Yeah, you go home with some dirty hands. That's okay.
Yeah.
Earn your keep. And it's free. The lunch I think you have to pay for, but everything else is free.
You got to work for it.
You got to work for it. Yeah, you got to go muck a stall to get that. Yeah. Here is also Rut Fest, R-U-T in capital letters, and then Fest.
Dear?
It's the Richmond Ultra Trail Festival.
Okay.
A weekend devoted to running and hiking local trails.
Oh.
It's a 36-hour race, that includes 2 different 3 to 4 mile trail loops and gorgeous views of Camel's Hump and Mount Mansfield. And you can just run them on repeat. And they said it's going to be a low-key, relaxed adventure run for the community and not a competition.
Stupid.
Not a competition. Just run around.
We can do this any day then?
And the entry fee is donation-based, so whatever you feel like paying.
Okay. All right.
That's that. And you run around. Apparently, they said, thinking of running 100 miles, we have sweet buckles made that you can purchase after you finish. Purchase.
If you do it.
So if you run 100 miles, then you're allowed to buy something.
You can then buy a commemorative coin for it.
Wow.
Buckle.
A buckle. Here's your buckle. Here is crime rate in this town, besides that horse shit. Crime rate, property crime is half of the national average here. So that's nice. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, under 1/3 of the national average.
So safe.
That is really safe. I mean, you should be able to just walk around with your tits hanging out and not expect to be bothered here. Like, this is fantastic.
The lack of culture is driving me bananas, though.
But, Jimmy, there's Papa McKee's. You can get good Irish pizza. That's what you want.
Not a bit of flavor in that day of festival.
No, that is not a lot there.
Mac and cheese. That's the best you got.
That's pretty much how it's going to go there, I feel like. Wow. That said, let's talk about some murder. You want flavor, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I got some flavor for you because
this town's going to drive me to murder.
This town drove someone crazy here. Let's find out about Edwin Town with an E.
Yeah.
Edwin A. Town Jr. Now, I've seen him listed as Junior multiple times. I've also seen him listed as the third a couple of times.
Oh.
Not sure what it is, but everyone calls him Junior there, Ed Jr. and shit. So it's Ed. We're going with Ed. Now, Ed's born in 1952.
Okay.
And he grew up in Connecticut, from what I understand here. Connecticut, Vermont, they moved around a lot, his family.
A lot of people that live in New Hampshire, Vermont, that area, are from Connecticut because Connecticut's so fucking expensive. They just moved to the closest place that they can
looks
afford.
similar. Yeah,
it
it's
does.
nice.
Yeah,
it's still nice.
I can visit my mom. She's close by.
Yeah, it's a couple hours to drive. It's not bad. That's everything in the Northeast is drivable, which is
all
nice.
Right there. Yeah.
It's a nice thing about living up here. So Ed has depression from a young age.
I get it, yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's depression as far as it just was there in his brain, born with it, or if his life as a child, like, it makes sense. You go, yeah, that kid would be depressed. How the hell wouldn't you be when you hear about it? He grows up. He has a lot of problems, first of all. He'll blame him on his mother in court later, but he's got some issues there. He grew up very poor, like dirt poor, and moving around a lot. Too. That's what I mean. They went from Connecticut to here to there, always moving around, which does suck as a kid. I lived in a million different places, and it sucked. And they were all within the same area for the most part, and it still sucked. So
it's not easy.
To go different states all the time has got to really suck. His father was a manual laborer, just got whatever entry-level labor job he could, and worked to try to support people here. They had 7 children altogether.
Shit.
I don't know Ed's birth rank in those, but he's definitely, his parents are horny. We know that much.
That's for sure, yeah.
7 children, manual labor, trying to support all of this. Not easy.
God, and every time he fucks that woman, he has another kid.
And he's like, oh, Jesus, that's more overtime.
Yeah.
That's going to suck.
Of the hardest shit on the planet.
Jesus. Now, his mother is known wherever they go and is known all throughout the family as a, quote, this is from court documents, a, quote, sexually promiscuous woman who spent months away from home and eventually left the family when Town was in the 9th grade.
Huh.
So mom would like get a new boyfriend and disappear for a couple of months and then pop back up again when that didn't work out.
But is dad senior? We're positive is the father of all these kids?
That's, I don't know.
That's
He
what
doesn't,
we're
who
told.
the fuck knows? Yeah, back then, they
Yeah.
didn't have DNA test in 1952. Right. If it came out of your wife, it's yours. That's it. That's all there is to it at that
You're
point.
married to her, that's your kid.
You're supporting that kid. Yeah. Doesn't look like you, tough shit. Maybe she...
Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, she's got a grandfather, it looks like, and it's genetics. Don't worry about it. So then she leaves when he's 9th grade, so that's 14-ish. So that's not great. When his mom leaves, he drops out of school as well. Yeah, drops out of school and starts going to work with his father.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is like, 1966, 1967.
Yep.
He drops out of school and is doing manual labor with his father and spends the next couple years of his teenage life. So, normally when you're in the 9th and 10th grade and you're farting around and you're, looking at girls and you're whatever the fuck you're trying to do, he's instead working on pig and chicken farms in Rhode Island and Connecticut.
Yeah. Drinking black coffee and making no money, but as best as he can.
And then drinking Thunderbird after work. That's not good.
For sure. Yeah. And breaking his fucking back.
Oh, it's hard work. And the living conditions were not great either because they were like hands that lived on the farm. So they were given shit. A psychiatrist later says, quote, he was almost living at the same level as the pigs, as I understand it.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, they basically slept with the pigs.
Yeah.
That was how it worked. So
face buried in the stall too to eat.
Not terrific childhood, let's just say, for this guy. And a lot of it is he can't help that. He can't help that his parents have 7 kids and they have no money and his mom runs away. None of that can be helped by a child, especially when there's 7 kids. People barely even know who you are with 7 kids, I would think. Yeah. Which one are you again? I would say that if I had 7 kids, I'd be like, I don't know. Are you the fucking... Are you the 4th or the 5th? I don't remember your names.
I'm told you remember, but I don't know how.
I don't know how. Yeah, it's too much. It's overwhelming, I would think.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So 1971 comes around, and this is when he's like 18 years old here.
Okay.
And he had some problems here. Now, his mom is back in the picture at some point. She comes back into the picture. I don't know when, how, why, whatever, but she pops up, and she is with him, taking him to the doctor in 1971. And the doctor who examined him, first he went to a doctor and then a psychiatrist after that, or psychologist, one of the two. But he was diagnosed with having a personality disorder.
Which one?
They don't really say. It's 1971. So they're like, he's kind of fucked up. They just write that down.
There's a disorder with his personality or something.
A bit soft in the brain, I think they wrote back then, and then they just
kind of
send
annoying.
You wherever. Yeah,
not fun to talk to.
Some tics. I don't know. So the doctor wanted him to be hospitalized for it.
Oh.
So it was not a mild thing. It was something that was pretty I would love to know what the precipitating event was to be like, Mike, he's fucked up, right? And the psychiatrist going, dude, totally, yeah, he needs to be in a hospital. Except the mother refused to admit him to a hospital and wouldn't take him. Like, she said, well, I'm not taking him to a hospital. You know, he's got to work at the pig farm in the morning or whatever. So they were like, well, you know, you got to take him for further treatment. And she said, no, not going to do it. And he said, I'm not going to do it. And that was that. Done. Huh. So over the next few years, he gets married.
Yeah.
And has 3 kids as well.
With a personality defect?
With all of this. A personality disorder, smelling like pig shit, the whole deal. Yeah. He finds a wife and impregnates her and has at least 3 times successful with that. So 3 kids now. They'll later get divorced, as we'll find out. But I don't know how she stayed with him even the 8-ish years that she did, because let's find out about the 70s for Edwin here.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Ed had an eventful decade of the 1970s. In 1972, this is fucking insane, he abducted a 13-year-old girl at gunpoint.
Oh, boy.
And raped her.
Where?
A 13-year-old girl. That is disturbing.
How old was he at that time?
This was Stowe, Vermont. So up in the ski area there is where he did it. So he's 20 at this point. 19, 20, something like that. He thought about killing her, he even said to a psychiatrist. Like, he was going to kill her.
Yikes.
The plan was rape and kill. That was the plan. But he changed his mind about killing her at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, he got... I know that when you have regular... I've never been involved in rape, so I don't know. That's got to be... I don't know how you don't feel like a terrible person and go immediately fucking jump off a cliff after you're done doing that. But
right, yeah.
After regular sex, you don't have a lot of motivation.
Reality, yeah.
So,
and look, I've been in relationships where it was certainly consensual, and I regretted directly after those.
Oh, absolutely, and everyone has
perfectly reasonable behavior that I had just done, and I still was like, I probably shouldn't have fucked her again.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that. Ladies, how many times have you gone, what did I do?
Yeah. How many times have you fucked your boyfriend and been like, I was going to break up with him today?
Yeah. Jesus, damn it. Fuck. Well, tomorrow maybe.
Yeah.
So that's what he does, and he decides at the last minute to just let her go and release her near her house.
Okay.
She figured, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking.
But he raped her.
But he definitely raped her. He is arrested for rape and charged with rape and of a child and is allowed to post bail.
Wow.
And then ran away.
It's a different time.
I would say, yeah. That's a different time is a good way to put that. He posts bail and then he runs away.
Okay.
So no monitoring or anything like that.
Nothing.
Yes. So he apparently ran away to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Because in 1973, he's charged with a simple assault in Rhode Island.
What kind of simple assault? Okay. Yeah.
That's the charge. Simple assault.
Anything, yeah.
Now, this is the days before the states had interconnected computers or anything like that. You could get arrested in one state and be wanted somewhere else, and nobody would have any fucking idea. You had to check individual states to find out. So they didn't know he was wanted for child rape in another state when he was arrested in Rhode Island. So for that, he then ran to Florida away from the simple assault charge because he figured eventually they might connect that to Vermont.
Yeah.
So he runs away to Florida.
Okay.
which is very nice. In June of 1973, when he's in Florida, he picks up a couple that's hitchhiking.
Yeah.
And holds the man at gunpoint and sexually assaults the woman.
Wow.
Yeah. That's balls. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's one thing for one of these guys to find some fucking lone woman and be like, ooh, there's some easy prey. But to get, two people, which is, more difficult to manage, I would imagine. You only have two hands.
You're certainly vulnerable there for a minute, too.
And have one of them be a guy, which is usually the rapists don't usually fuck with guys because they want to assault women and they feel like they're stronger than women. So that's like some weird Zodiac shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's also hard enough to get a guy that'll watch you do it, and then to try to force a guy to do it, that's even harder, right?
Fucking insane, dude. So he runs from that as well. Yeah. He ends up in Tennessee after that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about
that's a long run. Yeah.
This is a trail of like,
and so he's wanted for that in Florida, or they get him? Okay, so
no, he's wanted for that. They give a description. They know everything. They know.
They never caught him.
It's his car he picks him up in. So I mean, they give a description of the car. He just takes off from Florida.
Okay.
So they have an active. They didn't like arrest him.
It is crazy
that
we
they're looking for him.
Ran a law enforcement town or outfit without connecting it to other. That's crazy that we did that.
It was impossible. We didn't have computers.
Phones.
But what would you do every time you arrest somebody? Call everybody.
I guess
every police force in the country and tell them about
it. Send out a teletype, a fucking email.
You know how expensive that was back then.
But holy shit, it's crazy that we couldn't do that.
It was impossible. It was just impossible to do. So
wow.
That's how Ted Bundy got away with it for so long. That's how a lot of these people
many.
And it's not even state to state. It was county to county.
Yeah, it was next door.
Just jurisdictions to jurisdiction. They would.
You know how many counties are in Arkansas, James?
A shitload. Yeah, it's
hundreds.
So many. You could just go to the next one and rape and pillage and fucking go to the next one, and they go, oh man, we're looking for that guy if he ever comes back.
Arizona has like 13 counties. Thank Christ.
Yeah, they're
that would make it a little easier. But some of these states have hundreds.
So many counties. Yeah, look at like Kansas. There's a shitload of little square counties in there.
It's like 4 houses in one county.
Yeah, with 4 farms. So yeah, this is what I mean. He's just running from state to state, doing something till he knows he's wanted, and then he runs it somewhere else.
Wow.
So in Tennessee in May of 1974. He is arrested again.
Yeah.
This time charged with carrying a sawed-off shotgun, which you're not allowed to do.
You shouldn't do that.
And especially if you're wanted a bunch of places, you really shouldn't do that. So at that point, he's like, well, can't stay in Tennessee. Got to run from here, too. Yeah. He never sticks around. That's the other thing.
No.
You let him go. He's fucking running, period. Yeah. Which, at this point, it's a successful strategy.
Sure is. Yeah.
For the last 3 years, he's been wanted in every state on the eastern seaboard. And he just keeps going, and nobody cares. So, and he's an auto mechanic, too. So
that makes it so easy.
You can work anywhere if you're an auto mechanic.
Yeah.
I know how to fucking fix this. That's it. You're hired.
And if you're good at it, holy fuck, they'll hire you now.
And especially then, they expected you to be a scumbag. They were like, I'm sure you're a scumbag. That's fine. Can you fix this Buick or not? That's it. So he's arrested. So he takes off. He was going to go to Vermont, but then he was like, can't go there. I'm wanted hardcore there. Yeah. So can't do that. So he then went to New Hampshire instead.
Okay.
Right next door. So I want to feel like I'm in Vermont, but not be.
Yeah.
He is arrested there in 1975 for carrying a concealed weapon.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You can't do that there.
This guy is an interesting fella. He just trouble. This is every single year he's got problems. Imagine just not just like working and living your life for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure on. He knows he sucks, right?
Yeah, he's got to know.
He's got to know.
And these are only the things that were reported and he was caught for.
This is what we know about.
What the fuck he's doing. Imagine how many people he's raping, kidnapping that just don't report it. Because back then,
he's
a lot of
robbed
people.
A gas station, right?
I'm sure he has. And also back then, people. Nowadays, the rate of reporting for sexual assaults is super low. Imagine what it was back then.
Forget it.
When they would literally put a woman on the stand and be like, what were you wearing? Did your tits look good that day?
Yeah.
Like, they could ask them, like, very pointed questions like that. And let me ask you this. Were your nipples poking your shirt? You know how they do? Because, I mean, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, actually, gentlemen of the jury, obviously, we understand what happens when that happens. Like, that's how it was back then,
How
the early
close
70s.
to menstruation were you? Could we smell it?
Yeah. If you were in the woods, would wolves know you were there? Let's
Perhaps
put it
a
that way.
bear.
Perhaps a bear. So he's arrested there in New Hampshire, like I said, carrying a concealed weapon. During all of that, he's told the police that he only felt safe when he had a pistol on him.
I mean, yeah.
Only felt safe. So he's always going to have one, and he never has the correct legal way to do it.
Yeah,
so.
That's the answer. I mean, it's fine if that's the way you feel safe, but take care of the paperwork, man.
You got to do the paperwork, and you can't have a sawed-off shotgun, which...
No.
Yeah,
keep it within the legal parameters and fine, whatever.
And then you won't get arrested, and then you're great.
Yeah.
So in July of 1976, he is driving to work in the morning. Yeah. This is crazy. Driving to work when most people are glassy-eyed and just trying to get there. He decided to abduct and sexually assault a woman at gunpoint.
On the way to work?
On the way to work.
What's in your Dunkins?
Wow, that is...
My God.
Remarkable. So he approached the woman 3 different times asking her if she wanted a ride. Okay. She declined.
Yeah.
He basically pulled up like Cheech and Up in Smoke and was like, you need a ride? But when they said no, Cheech just didn't go, whatever, and then go find Chong on the side of the road. He kept coming back for more.
He'd like circle the block?
Yeah, he'd come back again. Sure you don't need a ride now?
Yeah.
Sure you don't need a ride?
I'm still in the area.
Then he comes back a 4th time. This time he points a gun at her and says, get in the fucking car.
Yeah.
So it went from, do you need a ride to you're getting a ride right now.
Have a ride, yeah.
He drove her to an isolated location, forced her out of the car at gunpoint, forced her into the woods, and raped her.
Yeah.
Then he drove to another location, pulled her back in the car, drove to another location in the woods, and told her he was going to kill her.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Then he sexually assaulted her again.
Yeah.
Instead. So she ended up escaping from him later on when he stopped the car at some point. She got out of the car and took off, and there was people there, and she got away.
Couldn't do anything, yeah.
So at that point, he is arrested for that.
Good.
And he's going to be in 1976 convicted of sexual assault and kidnapping in New Hampshire.
Great.
So that should put him away for a good amount, especially with his previous record.
Yeah, that's 20 years.
Yep, no, he's sentenced to 5 to 10 years in the state prison.
Live free or die, I guess.
Wow, that is some. That's a little bit too free, I would say, to live.
Rapists doing fucking,
and he did it
almost
twice,
murderers. Yeah,
at gunpoint.
I don't think he was going to let her go.
Probably not. She escaped.
Yeah.
I don't think he was, because he found out last time you let him go, they tell on you. So he is sentenced there. The minimum release date for him was summer 1979. So he could get out. He could get out in 3. Yeah, that's his lowest. So in April of 77, his case is reviewed for transfer to a minimum security facility.
Yeah.
Because who's worse than this guy that you have? Who do you have in maximum? Is it all murderers?
Right.
I bet you there's not that many murderers in New Hampshire to fill up a maximum unit. So
if a man kidnaps a woman and rapes her in one location, takes her to another, rapes her again, threatens to kill her, and the only reason she's alive, to our understanding, is because she ran.
Yes.
3
Who's
years
worse?
minimum.
Who the fuck's in maximum then is what I'm getting at. If you say who belongs in maximum security prison, you go murderers, rapists, 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Those 2 right there. And then you can
terrorists that are multiple rapists.
Yeah, then you could pick some. Yeah, he's a rape terrorist. Then you could pick out some other people maybe that you would like in there. But top of the list is fucking gunpoint rapists. I'm going to go, I want them in maximum. Let's make sure we hang on to them for a while. So the chief of the mental health unit there recommended the transfer.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, quote, He is seen, meaning Ed is seen, as being of low average intelligence who responds to common basic human needs. They're saying he's so dumb he just responds to whatever he could be doing.
When his dick's hard, it just he has to do what he has to do.
Whatever
his
he's
stomach
doing,
growls, he puts food in it.
If his stomach growls, he'll just drop shit and walk over and get a hamburger, I guess. He just has no control. Like an animal, basically, they said he is. Like a dog.
He's
basic needs. The described sexual episode appears to be more the response to one of these basic needs rather than the act of any criminal. Are you out of your basic need to rape? Yeah, he used a gun.
With a gun.
And then it's your basic need to rape again?
Right.
You just came. What the fuck are you doing? That's not a basic human need. That's a sick fuck who enjoys this shit. There's no other...
And I understand a defense as much as the next guy, but that seems a bit far-fetched, doesn't it?
Yeah, and if he's too low intelligence or whatever to understand that is not a basic need you can meet without, consent and violence, then what the fuck? You know what I mean? What are we doing?
Jesus. And
he's married at this point, too.
Yeah, he knows where it's at.
He got married. He has children, for Christ's sake.
He knows how and where,
Wow. This is a continuation here. It is believed that he is the type of individual who learns by experience and profits by the consequences of his behavior. So he learns by experience. So then he learned that if you do this and you get arrested and caught, then you go to prison. So we feel like we've made him understand now that that's what he's saying.
He's so low intelligence, he just responds to basic human needs. But now that we've told him and shown him, now he knows the right way.
Well, he learns by experience and profits. Like he does well from consequences. So if he knows consequences, if I do that, I get in trouble, then I won't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, like a smart dog. That's what they're calling him, basically. Pig. Yeah, he's a pig person, a human pig. He is the human pig. This man.
He wanders around saying, "Oh, okay." A lot.
I get it now.
Okay.
1979.
Yeah.
Here. August 5th, 1979, he is paroled.
Wow.
So as soon as he could possibly be paroled, he's paroled. And because he went to minimum security, and they're all recommending he's doing great. He settles in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 days after he's released from fucking prison.
Yeah.
For what he did, which was horrible. He is he's going to be charged with the sexual assault of a 9-year-old girl.
Oh, my. In New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire. After 10 days after getting out of prison for this.
Boy, does his lawyer have a red face right now?
Boy, am I looking silly right now?
I'm just embarrassed. Jesus,
man.
I'll tell you what. I mean,
boy.
I really thought.
Could have done that a little bit better. Or what about the guy from
9 days?
The guy from prison said he learned his behaviors and consequences and blah, blah, 10 days.
10 days.
Of a 9-year-old girl. So they question him for that, and they're going to charge him later. But before they charge him, right after they question him, he denies it. So they have to let him go because they're got to put the case together. Right. He quits his job and fucking takes off.
Goodbye.
Because he knows he's going to be charged.
Yeah.
So on April 1st, 1980, a grand jury in New Hampshire indicted him on one count of aggravated felonious sexual assault. How is that not on a child, on a 9-year-old? And 9 is like extra fucking...
That's the felonious part. The rest of it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah, that's fine. Jesus Christ. When he failed to appeal for his or appear for his arraignment, his bail was forfeited and they issued a warrant for his arrest.
Okay.
It's a New Hampshire fugitive warrant. And keep that in mind because it'll come up for the next 30 years. It's a big deal in this thing. Yeah. So... Okay, he's wanted in New Hampshire, allegedly.
Vermont and Florida now.
Well, now he just moves to Vermont.
He went back there?
In Vermont, he's fine because he was paroled there.
Oh.
So, remember, he's okay there, I think, right? Wasn't he arrested?
Didn't he have a warrant there?
Oh, no, that's in New Hampshire. That's right.
Okay.
That's in New Hampshire. I guess so, but instead, he goes back to Vermont.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry, he'll get in trouble again. So it's not like he's going to go live a quiet life in the woods in Vermont and it's fine.
Right.
So 1980 in Vermont. He's residing in Wardsboro with his aunt Mildred Ballantyne, which sounds like somebody's old aunt that would let you stay there.
Yeah, right.
This is my Aunt Mildred Ballantyne.
Millie B.
Yeah, he had lived with his estranged wife, who they're now estranged at that point in New Hampshire. Mildred said that he lived with her for about 7 weeks. He was waiting on a farm job, apparently. Apparently, in the spring, there'll be farm jobs. It's winter,
Right.
so they're
It's a seasonal job, sure.
Exactly. So he's waiting out the winter, and his wife and 3 children were going to move to Vermont when he got the job, is what Mildred said. That was the plan. Except on February 20th, 1980, his wife tells him it's over.
She's done.
Marriage is over. Yeah. 3 kids, several rapes. It's over. Like, this is a long... She's had
More
a long
rapes
decade.
than we have children. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if he's raping strangers, imagine what he does to that poor woman.
What he does to her, I don't want him around my kids. I'll tell you that much. Even if they're his, I don't want him. I don't trust him. He's raping 9-year-olds. What the fuck? He has no there's no moral basement on this guy. He's a fucking monster. So his wife decides it's all over with. 8 years and 3 kids. Fuck this. We're done. Okay. So that same day, he's good and fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
And on February 20th, 1980, this is, he ends up finding a woman named Susan Mackey, M-A-K-I.
Yeah.
She's 21 at the time. She is driving to work in the morning, which is, she works for Precision Airlines in Springfield. She left her home in Claremont about 10 a.m. on the way to going to work. That's all. Just fucking going to work.
Catch the noon flight out of there.
That's all. She's on her way to work. She sees a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
At the Springfield, Claremont, New Hampshire toll bridge. So there's a hitchhiker there. So she picks him up, which is weird. I don't know why she's picking this guy up. But back then, though, people just picked up hitchhikers. It was normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she picks him up and, this is where you're going and all that sort of thing. And they start pulling away. She says, though, quote, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a knife and put his arm around me and pressed the knife to my abdomen.
Oh.
So now he's holding a knife on this poor woman. So obviously she's terrified. He tells her, quote, just keep on driving. I'm just going to make you a little late for work.
What does that mean?
That's what he tells her. That's what's so terrifying. Who the fuck knows what that's at? While someone's got a knife on you, that sounds scary. And he's a weird-looking guy, too. That's the other thing. He's in his 20s. He looked a little less weird, but later on, you're like, oh, God, that guy will absolutely
weird.
Drag you to a pig farm and rape every hole you got. Like, that's what he looks like.
Yikes.
So town ended up taking over driving of the car. Takes her on a number of back roads. They stop at a rest area and walk back into the woods where she's sexually assaulted.
Yes.
He sexually assaults her a second time as well. She said throughout all of this, she testified later that she was aware of he had a bone-handled knife up against her the whole time. She said she tried to tell him about her job, her family, even showed him pictures of her 2-year-old son.
Yeah,
that's her.
Calm him down. Yeah.
That's her approach is don't kill me because I'm. Which this
humanize
works.
yourself. Yeah.
This works on some people.
Yeah. Show him that you're a mother because he's got a mother.
Yeah.
Show him the picture of the child because he was a child.
John Douglas talks about this a lot. Like if you're a master of like knowing what people are all about, you can find the right button to let people go. But the problem is sometimes if you're in that situation,
that's a trigger.
That button might be a trigger. That's what he's saying. So
I hate my mom. Yeah. That thing.
Sometimes this works. Humanization works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does the opposite and pisses them off. Sometimes they want you to act like you never know what a psychopath wants. She picked this approach. She said, I wanted to make myself more real to him, someone who would be missed. Also, they'll look for me is another thing.
Yeah.
So she said that he actually, after he raped her at knife point, asked her if she enjoyed it.
Yikes.
Was that good for you? Like, what are you fucking... What a pathetic asshole.
I've also never heard of a bone knife being a part of something and like the bone handle knife.
It's usually for fishing. That's
a
usually like
terrifying
a fillet
knife. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pointy, and those are
Somebody
usually
always dies with that.
That's what you gut a trout with.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Yeah. And they oftentimes have like that, like fucking Rambo blade on the end of it too. And that bone doesn't slip, so you can really get after it.
I think this was only like a 4-inch blade, but still, it's a goddamn knife in your abdomen. Nobody wants to be stabbed to death. He'll rape you. He might do anything.
Jesus.
So he asked her that sick question. Yeah. She said this about it, quote, although I hadn't, obviously, I told him I did. I didn't know how sick or nuts this guy might be. I didn't want to get him mad and he might kill me. She was just trying to get him away from her. She said she didn't have her identification with her when they walked into the woods, and she was thinking that if he killed me in the woods, no one's ever going to know who I am. If they don't find me for a while, they're never going to identify me. This is fucking horrible. So she said that he later drove through many small towns and eventually reached Townsend, I can't remember, Dam. She said that at that point, he had told her that he liked her and wanted her to stay with him for a while and, quote, be his old lady.
Oh, boy.
His wife left him that morning, and he's like, I'll just go pick a new one up.
And force her to be my old lady.
Yeah, I'll hitchhike. First one that picks me up, she's my old lady now.
Yeah.
She said when he insisted that she stay with him, she would nod in agreement. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. So later, she said he broke into a small 2-room camp near the dam, and he changed his clothes and told her he'd be back in about an hour with some groceries for the two of them.
Oh.
He made her promise that she wouldn't run away.
No, you promise. You just stay right here.
You'll just be right here so I can fucking assault you at knife point repeatedly, and you can be my old lady by force.
I'm going to get some milk and eggs.
What the fuck? Obviously, she said, I'll be right here when you go. I'm going to make it all comfy for us.
Yeah. I'll make the bed.
I'm going to get the dishes ready. We're going to really have a whole thing. She said she watched from a window until the car was out of sight. And as soon as it was, she fucking burst out, ran down the road, and was pounding on any camp door that was there looking for help. Nobody was there because it was February, was the problem.
Oh, dear God.
So she was able to, there was finally a car drove by, and she was able to flag down a passing car and was taken by the driver to the hospital, Grace Cottage Hospital, and she's finally safe.
Made a report, yeah.
This is a 6-hour ordeal.
Holy.
This poor fucking woman. That is.
Holy shit.
She's 21, man. That is horrifying. She was going to work.
Yeah.
Which is bad enough. She had to wake up for work. And
he was just going to make her a little late for work, and then he fucking was going to keep her.
You're going to be my old lady. Yeah. I won't kill you. I'll just keep you forever. Like, don't run away now.
Yeah.
But that's how dumb he is, that he really thought that, he must have charmed her.
Yeah.
She said she liked the sex. And
she was showing me the pictures of her kid. We were in a relationship now.
We were connecting. Yeah, what the fuck?
It's really getting serious.
Jesus, we're going to watch some TV tonight. We had a whole plan of what we were going to watch. So she said that he watched, when they were out in the car, he watched her looking through the rear view window and turned to look himself. And when he saw a passing vehicle, he moved away from her to appear as nothing unusual was happening when she first picked him up. Like, he was like aware of, I don't want people to think that it looks like I'm kidnapping a woman. Right. So that's what's also very interesting. So he's aware of that shit. He's not just oblivious. So he's obviously arrested for this.
Yes.
He's driving her car. So, she just goes, you can find him in my car. And he is found in the car. He's arrested. He is told, obviously, of his right to remain silent.
Yeah.
He immediately, upon hearing his rights, completely disregards them.
Sure.
And says that he wants to be taken to a mental institution rather than jail.
Yeah.
The cop said, why? And he responded, quote, blonde hair and blue eyes. That's my weakness.
What does that mean?
That means that's why I was raping that woman, because if I see women with blonde hair and blue eyes, I just have to take my knife out and rape them. So take me to a mental institution, please.
Because of that, he thinks he's mental?
He thinks he's crazy because that makes him super.
Because he's got a kink?
super horned up and he can't fucking control it. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us, be fashionable, get in there with Quince, indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, it's great. Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff. And I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options. Nice. It's very cool. And you can personalize this portion and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
I mean, it makes him mental that he can't not rape people. That's
a problem.
That'd be great if he could cut that. If he just tried to hit on chicks with blonde hair and blue eyes. Right. Fine. I bet you'll find one eventually.
Yeah.
By the way, this one they said bore a striking resemblance to his wife as well.
Is that right?
Striking resemblance. Looked pretty much just like her. They were like, that's
taking it out on her.
That was disturbing. So they need evidence, obviously. They have a whole lot of eyewitness testimony. Sure. They have him saying, hey, blonde hair and blue eyes, man. You know how it is. He probably... problem. He elbowed him in the shoulder, like, blonde hair and blue eyes, brother. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So the science of it, they testify later that semen was found on underwear worn by Susan and inside of a coat and on pants owned by him. and worn by him that day. He's just fucking... He's like
coming everywhere.
He's like
Good
a drippy
Lord.
hose. It's just all over the
Inside
place.
the coat.
He came in a coat. I don't know how that
My
happens.
God.
Unless he just had it all over his hands and was just...
Yeah, and when he put his hands in the sleeves, it got on the inside of the sleeves.
He like did one of these, grabbed like his lapels and was like, I straighten myself.
Proud of himself.
Yeah.
Had it all over his hands.
Jizz hands in there and some. Pigman, the jizz hands.
Old dick hands.
Evidence of type AB blood, which is Susan's type, was found also on his clothing as well. It's not his blood type, it's her blood type. That's not great. The scientist, though, said that he was unable to determine whether the evidence of his blood was present in samples taken from her vaginal swabs because her type A blood masks his type A blood. Her type AB blood, I guess, overpowers and masks his A. Huh. They needed more science here on this. There just wasn't the science available to make these determinations. Now you could figure it out. Back then, they had no fucking idea.
They didn't know how many cells for
They were
each.
like, wait, she's an A? Well, AB? Well, we're not going to find his A. Fuck it, never mind. Like, they had no idea where the shit was going.
Today, they'd be like, well, check this man. That one has lower T cells in it, so that's not hers.
Can we get an IQ out of that semen? Because then we could tell.
I think that one's got gout, too.
Yeah, this one just keeps bumping into a wall. I think that's his. I'm going to say.
You're looking for the blood that bumps into walls and has a hobble.
Yeah, that's the one. I think we found him.
A little drop foot on the left leg.
So he's taken to trial. Mm-hmm. Both defense and prosecutors describe him as a man with, quote, profound psychosexual problems.
There we go.
That's a good name for the episode.
Closer.
Profound psychosexual problems is a very good episode name. I think we're going to use that. That is terrible. Either that or the piggy jizz man. I don't know which one to use. That's the pivotal issue was whether or not he was legally insane. He said insanity. I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, but okay.
So they tried to cite his troubled past, tried to prove that he was insane. I mean, that's one of those where we're like crazy, but legally insane? Yeah, come on now. They painted
it's fucking nuts, but is he? I don't know.
That's what I mean. So they try to paint a picture of him as being a chronically shy, which is the opposite of what I would call him.
Yeah, that's very outgoing.
To hop in a stranger's car, pop a knife in, and be like, "You're my old lady, I'm going to rape you." That's as outgoing as it gets right there.
That is a very loquacious fella.
They called him shy, insecure.
Shy.
He rapes a woman and thinks she likes it. That's not insecure either.
Imagine if he was outgoing.
Yeah. Imagine if he had an ego on him. Jesus Christ. And they called him depressed also for a good part of his life. Shy, insecure, and depressed, which there's a lot of guys like that, and they don't do this. So the county attorney here, he likened Towns' behavior to the offense during this offense to that of a chess player who thinks 3 and 4 moves in advance. Like, he's not crazy. He's watching out for cars behind him. Yeah. He's going to a secluded place. He didn't take her to like a McDonald's parking lot and rape her in the car because he knew people would see that and he'd get in trouble.
Not only is this calculated and planned, it is calculated and planned.
It's also
like
super planned. Yeah. And like, it's also pretty gross. Did we mention that? Because this is gross.
That's a given.
They said that the fact that Town throughout the day took precautions to avoid being caught in the criminal act is evidence that he was in control of his behavior and aware of the criminality of what he was doing.
Yeah.
He said he was in complete control to the extent that he was thinking out each step of the crime well in advance. I'm sorry about his mental condition, but it didn't take over on that afternoon. Susan Mackey came along and he did what he wanted to do. That's what the prosecutor said.
Yeah. And I wish we knew anything about what happened in New Hampshire or Florida right now.
And Tennessee also, because God knows.
We should know this stuff so that we can put him away even longer.
We can tell you even more stories and bring even more people up here.
He's not learning anything except for rape harder.
Rape smarter, not harder, is what he learned. Which is not what you want people to learn. That's not the lesson we want them to take. So his defense here, they had 3 psychiatrists who all testified here. Now, the prosecution said they were all trying to tell you the same thing, that he suffered from a chronic depressive illness and psychosexual disturbance that dates back to childhood. But they said there's not a shred of evidence that his defense says that there's not a shred of evidence that his actions were premeditated.
Okay.
They said his behavior was, quote, triggered by the mental defect that led him to depart from reality as soon as the woman picked him up hitchhiking. Departed from reality. They said, a lot on his background, how he was poverty-stricken, moving all around, all that kind of thing. They also brought up that his mother was, quote, sexually promiscuous and was the root of his psychosexual problems. That's what a psychiatrist said, too.
Okay.
Wow. Susan testifies against him, which...
Really?
She's going to describe in detail 6 hours of terror.
Susan, you're a badass.
That jury is going to want to fucking get pitchforks and torches when they're done she's done testifying.
Yeah, and she's going to tell all that while his defense says his mom's a little slutty. Get out of here.
They say worse than that.
Yeah,
this is dumb. The public defender here, David Reed, this is the dumbest approach ever.
Yeah.
Asked if he had actually stolen anything from her.
Yeah.
'Cause that's part of this, is he stole some. Did he actually steal anything from you?
Yeah.
She said, quote, I consider the rape to be something stolen from me.
Yeah.
You set yourself up for that one, public defender dipshit.
Have you heard of dignity, Mr. Reed?
And she said, oh, by the way, he also stole my fucking car from the place.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah.
So besides my dignity and car, then no, he didn't take anything.
Have you any dignity, Mr. Reed?
Holy, he didn't go through my purse, no, if that's what you're asking.
Did he actually take anything off of you?
Wow.
My clothes and my car. Fuck you.
That is fucking insane. Holy shit. So there's a lot of that here. A lot of, was he properly notified of his rights? That's a thing. So the defense called witnesses from New Hampshire who examined him in 1976. One is a probation officer with the New Hampshire Department of Probation and Parole. He said that his examination of Town led him to recommend that he receive psychiatric treatment. He said, I felt he had serious personality problems, and he concluded that there be no favorable change in his behavior as a result of imprisonment. He's the guy who said he learned his lesson, let him out.
Yeah.
So they also said that he's withdrawn, insecure, has poor relationships with women. They got psychiatrists involved. They said that this is one psychiatrist said, yes, although he might have been outwardly making attempts to hide his criminal act, he wasn't able to stop himself from his actions.
Okay. Okay.
So, he was smart enough to do that, but he couldn't stop himself from doing it.
He's out of control.
2 psychiatrists testified about his family and how his background had an influence on his behavior. He had a hard time making friends. He's depressed, felt rejected. He's got a wife and 3 kids. If that didn't work out, great. But you got a woman to marry you and stay with you enough time for you to have 3 kids with her.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they said this was all because of his childhood. You never know. One of the defense psychiatric witnesses refuted earlier statements made by the prosecution's expert here. Both of them, though, agreed that he is depressed and has problems interacting with people, but they differed under whether he was mentally ill. Okay. One said that part of his psychosis here, they said, is the inability of a person to perceive to perceive reality is one component of psychosis. So they don't think he has an ability to perceive reality correctly. This guy said that Town suffered from depression most of his life, described him as shy and insecure in relations with other people, which is the reason for his depression. He said, I think he's been quite dissatisfied with himself for many years, particularly in his difficulty with winning affection from others.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can rate people at knife point.
Head on home.
Yeah, it's all good. He said that
our mistake.
They said that his difficulty in making friends has led him to use force on people with the belief that he'll eventually be able to persuade them to like him. If I hold them long enough, I can Stockholm them, and then that's good.
That's all I need.
So when he pulled a knife on his victim and she submitted to him for fear of his life, this psychiatrist said that Town actually believed that she was submitting because he convinced her to like him.
Oh?
That's what he thought. Oh, she said she liked the sex and she said she'd be his old lady, so that must mean that that's true.
That's my old lady.
Yeah. So they said this is where he lost touch with reality and showed symptoms of mental illness. He showed he's an idiot, but not that he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
So they said that he'd been married, he had 3 children, and, all of that. Also, they said that when he did this, town felt as though no one cared about him. Oh, isn't that sad? Oh, you poor guy. No one cares. Well, fucking no one cares about a lot of people. Quote, I think that the general feeling is something that had existed for some time. They said also, quote, Mrs. Mackey resembled a former girlfriend, that's right, not the ex-wife, who had a great influence on town. And when she reportedly gave him a ride, town saw that resemblance in her. And they said the former girlfriend was passive, encouraging, and approving, and town had not had any other relationship similar to that. And they said Mrs. Mackey was only in the car for a short time when he decided he wanted to be with her. She said that the psychiatrist said town doubted that she would want to go with him, so he used a knife to persuade her, hoping that she would become interested in him over the course of hanging out with him. Okay.
This is his courtship, then, in his head, is what
This is his courtship.
Okay.
If I pull out a knife and make her stay, I can convince her that so I won't need the knife after a little bit.
Okay.
So they said that he was unable to control his actions. This guy said he was fully out of control as he would be if he was psychotic. That's what they said. So the verdict comes in here. They deliberate for approximately 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he is found guilty as shit.
Yeah,
She's the living witness telling exactly what happened.
What are you going to do?
Super guilty. So during sentencing, he says, quote, this is actually Ed, it does absolutely no good in this state for a man to try to get the help he needs because he ain't going to get it. That's what he said. I tried to get help. Nobody will give it to me. So
I've asked for them.
It's the state's fault.
To stop me from raping, and they haven't done it.
Haven't done it. I mean, granted, I ran when they put me in prison where there's no women to rape, but still. So they sentence him to, quote, you, sir, may fuck off concurrent terms of 10 to 15 years.
Okay, concurrent.
So, concurrent. So he wouldn't be eligible same time. They wouldn't be eligible for parole until 87 here. Okay. Problem is the Vermont Supreme Court overturns the guilty verdict.
Why?
Because parts of the psychiatric testimony were judged to be hearsay and thus could not be admitted as evidence. Oh. So, yeah, this is great. This was sexual assault and kidnapping. And they're like, nope. So he's also arrested for, that's what they do. So they overturn the conviction. He has to be retried here.
Remanded for retrial?
Retrial.
Oh, my God.
1983, his lawyer repeatedly argues for special help for his client while he's a prisoner. He said they haven't helped him at all while he was in prison, even after he was convicted.
Yeah.
He works out a deal with the state to plead guilty. Okay. Now, in this deal also wraps in the 1979 New Hampshire fugitive warrant. Oh. Remember when he raped a 9-year-old?
Right.
This will make this go away.
Really?
Yes, that's part of the deal. This wraps into that. He's going to plead guilty in Vermont to felony charges of kidnapping and sexual assault in return for a reduced sentence. During the plea negotiations, the Vermont state's attorney contacted New Hampshire authorities and said, hey, you know that fucking warrant you have there?
Right.
They said, well, what about this? They reach an oral understanding concerning the charges based on certain representations that have been made over the phone, they said. So, according to the terms of this agreement, which was made part of the sentencing record in Vermont, New Hampshire state authorities promised to drop the pending New Hampshire charges against him and withdraw their detainer from the file.
So it's all clear now. He's free. And he's not free, but
from New Hampshire.
It's all cleaned up.
From the 9-year-old, yeah. So this agreement now, they send him to sentencing, and he is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 6 to 8 years in prison now. So
cleaned
10
up,
to 15 to 6 to 8.
All squared, except for that shit in Florida.
And he's recommended for participation in the state's sex offender treatment program.
Terrific. Fix it. Get it fixed. Yeah.
Now, why did they let him plea, you might add? you might ask. What the fuck?
love
Why
to
would
know.
you?
Yeah.
They had a bunch of evidence. They convicted him easily the first time, a 2-hour deliberation. Well,
What happened? Susan didn't want to talk about it?
no, Susan had moved to California and refused to return to testify again. She didn't want to fucking go relive that. I don't blame her. I'm going to go back to this place that I left to leave it behind me, and I'm going to fucking relive it again. I don't think so. I don't live in Vermont anymore. You people deal with him.
I left your orange leaves in the fall for sunny California, so I'm done.
And they were scared that without her testimony, he would get acquitted and be able to leave then. So the prosecutor said, if you don't have the victim there to testify, you don't have a case. And that was the reason for the plea agreement. It's not like now where you'd have DNA evidence and it wouldn't matter. Well, we found her DNA on his underwear. That would have been enough said. But at this point, it's different. So he said, the problem I faced in attempting to retry this case was the problem that prosecutors are faced with in all rape cases. The victim has been traumatized by the original assault.
Yeah.
The trial constitutes a second trauma for her, and in this case, the victim understandably was unable and unwilling to go through the trauma another time.
Right.
So there you go. They give him they're also a suspended 4 to 7 year prison term for the kidnapping.
Oh, that's nice.
So
So if he fucks up in that time, 4 to 7. That's
so
great.
it's 6 to 8 for the rape, and then the kidnapping is suspended, and he gets credit for time served, and they're going to be sentences are to be served concurrently.
Okay.
So, as part of the probation for the suspended sentence, they order him to participate in a mental health program and said that he is not allowed to hitchhike or pick up hitchhikers.
You cannot participate in hitchhikery.
That's not a free woman. That's how he sees it. It's like when somebody leaves like an old armoire out in front of their fucking house that says free on it or something, like an old entertainment center that fits a fucking square
Somebody
TV.
left her for bulk trash. So I picked her
Wow.
up.
There's just a free woman on the side of the road. That's what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Not free women. So they said that with the split sentence, such as this one, the person being sentenced is eligible for probation after about 3/4 of the minimum sentence that's served.
Yeah.
So that'd be minimum 3/4 of 4 years, plus he's got time served. So he's basically ready to walk now.
Wow.
So they said they must be placed on probation, and unless there's some further criminal act, then he's on probation, and that's how it works. So the sex offender program, little on that. It was opened in 1982. They do not accept all sex offenders.
So they parse severity?
I don't know if they're being picky about it. I don't know if you have to be a worse rapist or not as bad of a rape. Like, I don't know which that is for. Like if it's for the minimum or like that guy really needs some talking to.
They literally say that's our kind of guy.
That's our kind of guy right there.
Yeah.
They said only those offenders who sincerely accept responsibility for their act and acknowledge the harm inflicted by it should be considered appropriate. That's in their literature.
Yeah, because we want to be successful with this, and the only ones that we can do, you got to want it.
If you won't even admit it, we're not going to. Obviously, you're not going to be fixed. So, at the time of his arrest in 1980, he wanted to talk to her. This is when he was arrested for the rape. He went to the cops and said, well, just let me talk to her. I'll straighten it out, and we won't have this. Because trust me, like we had a real connection. I think there's been a crossing of the wires here because we were
miscommunication.
She's my old lady now, she said.
Wow.
So they said with offenders with histories of crimes other than sexual offenses were considered ineligible, and his weapons and assault charges should have excluded him, but didn't because they didn't know they existed. Wow. They only know of sexual things. So September 7th, 1984, he is released from custody.
Unbelievable. For the last 15 years, he's just been raping.
Raping and slipping out of it somehow. So that is insane here. He won early release from the Chittenden Community Correctional Center because prison officials felt he showed improvement in the program for sexual offenders.
Yeah.
The superintendent of the facility said that town here, they said that he benefited from the program. He said we thought that it worked. He said, it's not like we don't have a crystal ball.
True, yeah.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't let people out in a year. That might...
Yeah.
So he was released with the approval of the head guy of the board here on September 7th, 1984. Wow, that is wild. They said that if he had served 6 years for the crime, he would have been released on May 29th of this year. So even if all that shit didn't happen, if he had just served his normal time, they'd be releasing him now anyway, basically.
Unreal.
So from 1980. So he wins this for his good behavior in the program. They said officials running the program recommended he be released and continue treatment outside of jail. And they said that Town continued to see a therapist up until November of 86, and we'll talk about that. So they said 14 people have completed the sex offender program. One of them is Town. And they said, none of the others have committed any offenses since then, so it's worked so far. Okay. The program won national recognition for being in the forefront of rehabilitative treatment, but also received criticism from people who were saying, you're letting rapists out early. So,
yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is celebrate how great you are at stopping rape. Jesus Christ.
You better be 100% then at that point.
Yeah, you better be sure you did it.
That's not one where you could be like, well, I mean, there's going to be some rape, obviously. We can't be 100%. Like, that's a big deal. It's a big, sometimes you're going to miss one. In baseball, you hit 300, you're a Hall of Famer. So, you know what I'm saying?
That's literally less than
3 hits
one
out of 10 at bats. 3 hits and 10 at bats, you're one of the best. So, let's talk about it. Come on. You can't say that at that point. We're dealing with important shit.
3, not 7. I mean,
Jesus Christ. So they said in treatment he opened up and admitted a lot. So they were feeling like he was going to be.
He has no reason to not say. He can admit it. He's already served his time for it. He can say whatever the fuck he wants.
And he knows that he can get out earlier if he does that. So the old New Hampshire warrant. Okay, now despite New Hampshire's promise to drop the charges, it remained active on the files.
Oh.
I guess the fugitive warrant was not withdrawn. According to the Hillsborough County attorney in New Hampshire, they said that the authorities maintained the indictment as an active status to assure that Vermont complied with the provisions of the plea agreement with him. Oh. So they wanted to make sure it all went through and everything happened all fine before they dropped the warrant. Okay. So 1986, he's released from prison.
Yep.
And he is living in Vermont, and he's got a live-in girlfriend now.
Really?
Her name is Paul Leader Lewis, and that is
Paul Leader?
Paul Leader, like the leader of Paul. I'm Paul and I'm a leader, but with one L. Paul Leader.
Uh-huh.
Lewis is her name.
Okay.
I don't even know what that short. Paul, do you call her for short?
P?
Paulie? Like,
Paula?
what the fuck? That's strange. It's very weird. So they said that Town at this point was building a house in Eden Mills and was working as a Burlington auto mechanic, fixing alternators and starters at a place that does that specifically. So they said he had spent time in his life when he was a kid in Burlington. He had some of his childhood there, so he was familiar with the area, and that's what he was doing. So he's divorced now, totally, has 3 kids, and very few people around the area even know him, though. Like, he kind of sticks to himself. His next-door neighbor, who's a little old lady, they described her as, who didn't want to be identified, she said that, he seemed like a nice guy. She said he's lived here for about a year and a half. Him and his girlfriend, Paul Leader, keep to themselves. She said, I used to see him going out the back door to work and then coming home at night. He'd come in and fix whatever needed to be fixed. Because he also, by the way, was the maintenance person for the complex.
Yeah.
So he's fixing people's shit. So he has keys to everybody's fucking house, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. So they said the stairway leading to his second-floor apartment, because they're building a house and he lives in an apartment, they said he worked as a maintenance man there for the building. They said downstairs there's a barber shop and an upholstery business, and the barber said he only saw Town once in the year and a half he lived there. Because he goes to work in the morning, he comes home at night, and that's that. Yeah. So that's what he's doing at this point. He's busy, working, building a house, having a live-in girlfriend, doing the normal things that you're supposed to do. That's good.
So keep your head down. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then September 10th, 1986 comes along. Okay. There is a young lady here named Paulette Crickmore. Paulette, C-R-I-C-K More. Yeah. M-O-R-E. So she goes to Mount Mansfield Union High School.
Oh, Jesus.
She's described as a nice, sweet kid, clean, doesn't like hang out in the back of the school and smoke joints and drink fucking Boone's Farm with the others. She's not one of those kids.
She's all Vermont.
Yep, she's a school band kid, all A's and B's in school, not allowed to date yet by her parents. So she's a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not one of these kids in the 80s who was like, she's not Judd Nelson from the Breakfast Club.
All right. Yeah.
She's more Ali Sheedy, but younger,
Sure.
Even younger. Nice kid. The family experienced some tragedy a few years before this. 6 years earlier, her brother Dale was killed in a hunting accident.
Oh, no.
So this family's gone through some trauma here, obviously.
He was shot? Shit.
Yes. Now, on September 10th, her mom just had a new baby.
Okay.
So they had that's a big gap.
A new sibling, yeah.
So there's a brand new kid at home, an infant's at home and everything like that. So this morning she heads to school. Mm-hmm. She has her backpack and her flute with her.
Yeah.
She plays the flute. So she stops at a store before that, though. Before she goes to school, she has to stop. We'll find out why in a minute here. But her father's name is Alan, and he was already at work. He went to work early. He works at Hayward Tyler Pump Company, and her stepmother Tammy was at home with a 2-week-old baby.
Yeah.
So there we go. Paulette got off. I guess she has to take a couple of buses to get to school. Okay. So she got off one bus at the Four Corners in Richmond, where is a store there. Yeah. She had a $7 babysitting check that somebody gave her. And she cashes that and buys an apple and some milk.
Good kid.
Good kid. That's how sweet she is. She buys an apple and some milk. Doesn't buy a Mountain Dew and some fucking hot Cheetos.
She's keeping the doctor away and strengthening these bones.
She's a real nice fucking, listens to her parents. Even when they're not there, she buys an apple and milk with her own money.
Yeah.
So now it's 8:05, so she's running behind schedule a little bit here.
Yeah.
So she asked the crossing guard at the intersection if the late bus to Mount Mansfield has already passed.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. So the guard said that the guard didn't know either. So Paulette ran up to Jericho Road toward Camel's Hump Middle School.
Yeah.
Because that's an area, Camel's Hump.
There's a view of Camel's Hump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We heard all about it earlier. She had her flute case and a bright blue backpack on. Mm-hmm. She is seen at about 8:15 a.m. walking east on Jericho Road, just past the Interstate 89 overpass in Richmond. She's spotted by a driver heading west. She was walking with traffic and not hitchhiking. Okay. So didn't have her thumb out, but she's walking with traffic, which you're supposed to walk against traffic when you're walking.
Right. So you
as the general.
Off, right?
You can see if you're going to get hit by a fucking car. Yeah. That helps. But then biking, you're supposed to go with traffic so they can just hit you from behind and launch you from
then
your
you're
bike.
A car too. You're an asshole is what you are. But
because you're going slightly faster than walking, so now you're a car. You're not going 50, I'll tell you that much. So you're not a fucking car.
So fucking move it.
Move it. So she is last seen there. That's the last time anybody sees her. And then she disappears. Okay. She's trying to get the bus to go to Mount Mansfield High School in Jericho. She's 5'4", 115 pounds, blue eyes, brown hair, wearing blue jeans, a blue denim jacket, white canvas, probably Keds, all the girls wore back then. And she's last seen carrying a bright blue book bag and a black flute case, the little instrument case. So she disappears. Now, right away, everybody talks about, and a lot of speculation is that, she must have been hitchhiking probably to school because she was late. So she probably was just hitchhiking and somebody picked her up. And her father, Alan, said she didn't fucking hitchhike. This kid's not hitchhiking. Right. She bought an apple and milk, for fuck's sake. She's not hitchhiking. Yeah,
she doesn't live dangerously. She lives very safe.
You don't buy an apple and milk and then hitchhike and be like, you got any fucking Coke or anything? Like, that's not how it is. So he said, and she didn't run away. She's not a runaway kid. That's not any of that. Because they said, well, maybe she ran away. Maybe she met a friend and they took off together. And they're like, no, she's not that kind of kid. So the police also suspect foul play here because everybody they talk to, they're like, well, maybe the parents don't know. They talk to her friends and teachers and they're all like, no, that kid's not going anywhere. Nice kid, listens to people, not a dick. So the one cop said, "We always hope it's a runaway, but there are indications here that that's not the case. Because, number one, she didn't bring any clothes with her. She left money in her room.
Yeah.
Kids that run away empty the piggy bank.
She had a flute, an apple, and milk.
And her book bag with books in it.
Right. She's
not a runaway.
She's looking for shit. She's got to be somewhere.
They talked to everybody. No problems with family. No problems in school. She didn't even have a beef with a girl at school. Nothing. There's no anything going on with her. They said if she decided to run away, the cop said most spur-of-the-moment runaways get homesick and call their parents within 48 hours.
Right.
If she's not being abused or running from something, most kids, they just went to try to have a bit of freedom for a minute, and then they go, oh, shit, this sucks, and they call their parents.
She went to Tower Records. She listened to everything. Now she's back home.
Now she's back.
Yeah.
Paulette's father is concerned because she's still listed as a runaway in the next couple days.
Oh.
So this is the National Crime Information Center computer in Washington, D.C. She's listed as a missing juvenile, which is what they describe, how they label runaways. Mm-hmm. So they said that it's not what it is, obviously. So the state police were trying to get them to reclassify her as a child at risk, but they said that, it was hard to do, basically, which I don't understand why.
Yeah.
The father's pissed off, Alan. He says the police won't look as hard for her if they think she's possibly a runaway.
Right.
They look her up.
Right. So this isn't her fault that she's gone.
He said to have her listing as just missing casts aspersions. She didn't run away. That designation shouldn't be there. So, and also the officials there confirmed that, and they said that they have a number of avenues to publicize missing children, but only if they're considered to be at risk.
Ah.
They said the center can help you significantly more if it's entered into the computer that foul play is involved. That's what the technical advisor said. So they cited one program run by the National Broadcasting Company, NBC, that could have helped. Every week, NBC would distribute a list and photos of missing children to its affiliates nationwide so they could run them on their local news. So, but she wasn't on that list.
Really?
Because she was on the runaway list.
Oh, right. All right.
Yeah. So they said that the next week, though, the photo and the case went to NBC when they found out that her status was changed. So there you go. Now, finally, Police Sergeant Leo Blaze, Blaise.
Yeah, that's Blaze.
Blaze, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's covering the case. He's on it. He said that he made the initial missing juvenile entry. He said, when I originally did it, it was a missing person, but I did talk with everyone else, and it made better sense to upgrade. So they said what they've done is realistic. The child is entered as a missing person. That doesn't designate any pros or cons concerning the child being at risk. I can see where they would first look at this as a missing child in hopes that the child would show up in the community. But anyway, the Crickmore family was very frustrated.
Sure.
They was frustrated. He said that there's rumors about her. In the past week, people in Springfield heard that Paulette was seen with a 30-year-old man in Burlington, while other people in Burlington heard she was seen in Springfield. So it's one of those now. It's becoming that. And this is even pre-internet this to happen. So, I mean, imagine what it would be like now. There'd be a million people going, she was seen here, and then they'd have an hour-long video where they, took it apart.
Is this her on the surveillance of CCTV?
Remember the Gabby Petito thing?
Yeah.
With that horrible thing that happened? It's not a thing, that murder. But, I mean, there was
sightings everywhere. Yeah.
Every goddamn Instagram sleuth was out there going, well, I mean, she's here. And then, shut the fuck up. Shut up, all of you.
Let people figure it out.
Jesus Christ. So the father, Alan, said, it takes the eyes off the track. People have even started taking down posters. It's very cruel.
What? Why would you take it down?
Because they heard she ran away with a 30-year-old, so that's what it is.
I heard she was found. We don't even need this up anymore.
She's just a 10th grade harlot, that's all.
Right.
Just a sophomore strumpet. No need to fucking have a poster up. That's ridiculous.
On the road.
So, yeah. So they said they do official searches. They can't find her, turning up nothing. They put out thousands of posters with her picture distributed throughout New England. Workers at Hayward Tyler rallied around the Crickmores. They did their own searches. They contributed $1,000 of their own money to the family. A $10,000 reward fund was set up. And, it's a fucking young girl missing. Yeah. People are trying to find her here. So, obviously, this is, horrible. They said that they've turned up, the cops have nothing tangible. They can't find anything. They've had hundreds of leads. So many phone calls came in. So they would assemble every morning and they would search around. And they said anybody who's willing to search can join the procedure. The policeman here said we could use as many people as we can get. And Alan Crickmore, though, does not join. The police asked him to not join the search.
Really?
Said, you stay home. The one cop, Small, he said he's been through enough. They said he'll stay home listening for the phone, trying to keep from, going into a tailspin here.
Sure.
So the dad said, quote, the days are wearing on us. We're pretty tired. We're not sleeping. We're pretty frightened, too. Well, I don't blame them here. So at least his company grants him indefinite leave with pay and also gave all the employees a bunch of different days off so they could all go search as well.
Very nice.
So basically close down the shop and let the employees go search, which is a good thing to do, for Christ's sake. And they pay for a lot of the flyers, too, which is nice. So they said that right now we're short of the $10,000 reward, so we're asking the public to help. Jesus, I would hope so. They ended up raising the $10,000 eventually here. Yeah. Thank fuck. So they go on to say, quote, what was great was how many people offered to take flyers and distribute them for us. A truck driver took some to put in a truck stop between here and put one in truck stops between here and Connecticut. One UPS guy said he would give one to all of his customers. And one lady just said, I'll give them out. I'll pass them out in traffic. Don't care. So people they said for weeks, the state and local police were just overwhelmed with tips.
Yeah.
Just tons of them, but nothing panned out. They searched all the local quarries. They searched the river after reports that a body had been sighted in the river. Yeah. And eventually, though, after a couple of weeks, the phone tips dwindled to the point where they were getting like one a day, maybe, in like 2 weeks. Mr. Crickmore, Alan, too, he made his own searches even.
He's out there just looking around.
God, that's horrible. Imagine finding your own kid. You don't want to find that.
Imagine not finding them and then just spinning all day long looking for anything, and you just drive yourself fucking crazy.
Yep, and he did. He drove up and down back roads in his pickup looking for her and driving in areas where we'll find out he was very close to her.
No.
So he returned to work after a few weeks and then started going to counseling. And what are you going to do? I mean, you have to live.
Now you gotta cope with that child not being there.
Your life can only be on pause for so long mentally before you're going to break. And he has other kids and a family, so you can't break. Imagine all that with a newborn.
Right.
At home.
2 weeks.
Wow. Kids are scared everywhere here, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's a 17-year-old that goes to high school with Paulette, said that he stopped hitchhiking after her disappearance.
They're not looking for you, dude.
He was 17. He probably shouldn't have been hitchhiking anyway, but you're not the guy. He said he's even given strangers in town a second look now. He's suspicious of everyone.
He's very paranoid, yeah.
He said it's just weird, something like that happening in Richmond, especially to someone I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a grocery store clerk who was 16, a guy named Rich Whisman, said he was frightened to think about the possibility of being abducted. Your name's Rich.
They're not looking for dudes, bro.
Yeah, 17-year-old guys are less likely to be
very
abducted
rare.
than 16-year-old girls. He said that you've got to be really sick to do that. Well, no shit.
Yeah, obviously.
That's fucking horrible. So another guy here said that, he wants her to be found so the family can have whatever and,
Rich can go back to hitchhiking.
Go back to hitchhiking and feel better. And he also says that he hopes whoever did this will suffer. He said, quote, I used to be against it, but now I wish Vermont had the death penalty. But I don't know. Maybe with prison, with life without parole, maybe the bastards will suffer more.
It's fascinating what a little bit of fear will make you want against whoever made you feel that fear.
Fear is amazing. Fear is amazing as a complete. And I'm not saying in this situation, but fear is an amazing for your complete abandonment of logic.
Boy, the motivator to
wild.
Just do wild shit because
you turn into like what those psychiatrists described him as. Just my dick's hard, better stick it in something. When you're fearful, though, that's what you do. I'm fear this, I better go there. So Yeah, that is a lot. This one guy says, I like Law and Order, but I'd still like to get my hands on him myself.
Okay, calm down.
Yeah, that is...
You don't even know what happened yet. A girl's just missing at this point, sir. Calm down.
And Alan said, when my son died and was buried, it was over. We knew it's over. He's in the ground.
Closure. Yeah.
This is what happened. With this, he's like, how the fuck do we move on?
Yeah.
That's it. And he said, the other thing, they said, well, what are you going to do if they don't find her? And he said, I guess I'll give some of her stuff to her brothers and sisters so they can keep part of her and her friends.
Oh, my God, Alan.
I don't know. That's so sad. And if she's dead, he said, we'll bury her next to her brother.
Yeah.
That's that. And, we'll let her friends come out and say goodbye. So, suspects, witnesses, what are we doing here? Sergeant Blaze here, he worked up a list of more than 20 people, of the suspects. Then he found out that Edwin Town was living in Richmond. And he went, well, there's top of the fucking list is this guy living near Richmond. He's like, are you kidding me? We got the biggest scumbag in the Northeast here. Yeah. So he said, quote, he became my number one primary suspect based on nothing but he's here and this happened.
Based on presence.
That's how big of a scumbag he is. He said also witnesses had described seeing a pickup truck matching Town's pickup truck, his Dodge pickup, in Jericho on the day the murder was committed.
Oh?
He's like, this is getting a lot here. And his prior criminal record, and let's have a chat with him. So he said, one of the cops said, it all started out as intuition. We sat down and said, do we know of anybody around here capable of such a thing?
Right.
And Blaze was the one that came up with the Town name. He said, this is a very good example of police intuition and legwork. Blaze says Town was a logical choice. He'd been arrested at least 4 times for sexual charges. He said, this is Blaze's quote here. Number one, it is standard operating procedure to immediately, where are the sex offenders in the area? You talk to them first.
Right.
Number one thing that they do.
The first thing they do. Yeah.
First thing. He's acting like this was like some stroke of like constabulatory genius here. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? He said, cops are always thinking. This is what a cop does all the time. Sometimes you go to home and go to bed and you start having dreams about it. What to do? The standard operating fucking procedure? Yeah.
I was laying in bed one night and I was like, maybe we should check on sex offenders. And my wife was like, that's genius. What's his name?
And my boss was like, you didn't do that already? Jesus Christ. That's the first fucking thing you should have done. Yes. Check.
Lucky I'm not fired.
God damn it. So, he is the principal investigating officer is Blaze. Yeah. He requested a background check on Edwin Town from the National Computer Information Center. And the NCIC check disclosed the existence of an outstanding fugitive warrant for him in New Hampshire. They never got rid of it. This allows the authorities to be able to pull his ass over and search him for no reason, which is what they want.
Oh, New Hampshire.
So upon receiving this, Blaze requested and received the sheriff's department get a certified copy of the warrant. So now he's like, I can fucking go get this guy anytime.
Anytime I want, yeah.
And actually bring him into the station. So he talks to the caseworkers also that worked with him. He's like, I'd like to know a little background going in. So he talks with 2 women who knew him at the correctional center. One was the casework supervisor, and the other was his caseworker, and also his parole officer later on.
Sure.
So both women were aware of the New Hampshire charges. And sometime before all of this, one of the people, his caseworker, informed Blaze that she believed the charges had been resolved, though she wasn't certain. And so did the other one. They go, I thought that was taken care of. And he goes, well, I found this warrant.
I got it right here.
So October 21st, 1986, he is arrested for an old warrant. This is going to be a big deal.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Escape reality and immerse yourself in a gripping tale of mystery, murder, and romance with June's Journey. Join June as she unravels the truth behind her sister's mysterious death, and use your observation skills to find hidden clues and uncover dark secrets. Plus, you get to explore stunning hidden object scenes, from New York parlors to Parisian sidewalks, as each chapter reveals captivating mysteries. How sharp are your observation skills? Put them to the test in June's Journey. Download for free today on iOS and Android.
He's pulled over, and he's going to be arrested for that, but then they are allowed to search his car, and they find a .32 caliber Mauser semi-automatic pistol in his car, which he's certainly not allowed to have on parole.
If this warrant doesn't exist, they're not allowed to even find that gun anyway.
There you go. See, that's the thing here. So the discovery of this weapon leads to his arrest on federal firearms possession charges.
This is
a felon.
Fantastic for the safety of the community.
It's great for them. Yeah, he is brought back to the court to provide. Also, while he's in there, they also take him to court because they're like, while you're here, there's something else we need to talk to you about. You're not giving your ex-wife child support that you owe for your 3 kids. So
you son of a bitch.
They put him in there. So they followed him around, eventually pulled him over, and found his pistol was loaded too, of course.
Wow.
And there we go. So it was under his seat. It is not any, as we'll find out, they don't think this is the murder weapon here.
No.
But it's enough to get them to search other places where they end up getting 2 rifles from him as well.
Okay.
So they got the open warrant, the 2 rifles, all this shit. They think they got their guy for Paulette, but they haven't found her.
Yeah, or any evidence
against him.
Yeah.
So while they have him in there for this firearms thing, they question him a little bit here. And at the time of his arrest, he admitted being on Jericho Road the morning of September 10th.
What the hell? Why?
Yes,
Why did he do that?
He said because afterwards he drove to Eden where he worked on the foundation of his house, which is very fucking important also.
Sir, you did what?
Then he went and laid fucking concrete after this.
8 inches thick.
He also said that at the time he had damaged his truck during the first part of September. He purchased a number of concrete blocks before September 10th and on September 12th, moved more blocks from the property of his employer. He told one of his employers, Don Bork, who we'll talk about here, that he had driven his pickup truck into a tree on his land and ruined it. So, Now, he told the cop on the day in question he drove a load of concrete blocks from Richmond to Eden Mills, where he's building his house. Told them also he was on Jericho Road right around the same time where she disappeared with her shit. They release him the same day, though.
Okay.
He makes bond on the weapons charges, and they can't arrest him on this yet. So they release him that day.
We got a good start, though. He put himself at the scene of what we determine as one crime.
Absolutely. He pleads not guilty and released on a $10,000 appearance bond. Okay. Now it's deer season.
Yeah.
So now the woods are just
teeming with people.
Teeming with people traipsing for deer around all over.
All on foot, for Christ's sake.
So November 19th is the peak of all this.
Yeah.
And on this day, there is a man named Howard Blackmore. He's 75. He's walking in the Duxbury Woods here.
Yeah.
West of River Road, about a quarter mile south of the Chittenden County line. He's walking around looking for deer. He's walking up a hill past a large rock about 130 feet from the road. And he says, I went by the boulder, and of course, at my age, I stopped, and I looked back, and I saw these brightly colored overalls.
Yeah.
So he drove back to Waterbury to the police headquarters and led the troopers back to the site. A mobile forensic lab with 2 states attorneys and the Vermont assistant chief medical examiner all came at once. They were like, this is what we're looking for here. They didn't release much info at first. The sergeant said that would be poor police work if I gave out information on an ongoing investigation. All he said was a gun was not found. They believe this is Paulette. He said he had a half dozen suspects, but he said he was no closer to an arrest than before she was found. He said, we have the body, and that will give us a lot, hopefully.
Yeah. That's good information to put on the news, too, because a guy like him, if you say,
thinks he's cool.
I'm no closer, that tells him, I can stay here all day long.
He won't take off to Florida or something.
Yeah.
So She's been shot 3 times with a .32 caliber pistol.
So she is still very recognizable of what has happened.
She's badly decomposed.
Okay.
But when they take her in for an autopsy, they figure out they find 3 bullets in her. So that's how they figure that out. Which is obviously horrible here.
Yeah.
So now on this day, James Bork, who was Ed's boss, he said he observed a distinct change in Ed's behavior when the news came over the radio that the body had been discovered. The body did not mention the exact location of Paulette's body, but Town told Bork he knew where it was in Duxbury because he had fished there, even though they didn't say where it was.
What?
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
So now the Crickmore family, these poor people, poor Alan said he sat down and dinner that night, and he knew the police found a body earlier that day, and they were waiting to confirm it. So he said, this is horrible. He said, quote, "I'm sure it's her. The description fits. The clothing and the shoes are the same. The double pierced ears and the body found right in this area. How can you dispute that?" This poor man. These poor fucking people. He was sitting at his dining room table watching the People's Court, and not watching it, but that's what was on TV. And they called up and they told him about it. Yeah. And they said that it's just everybody's calling at that point. And people, because they heard a body was found. Yeah. So he said, "I'm having to tell everybody, no, we don't have a positive ID. Thank you for calling." Yeah. He said, quote, "You wait and be damned. There's just nothing you can do. Just wait for the authorities to do their job." Man, that is fucking rough. That's a rough fucking thing to do. So he said once they figured out that it happened, he said, quote, "Jesus Christ, why me again? I already lost one child."
Yeah.
This poor guy. He said, "I always thought that bad things happen to bad people. And if you were good, good things would happen to you. But that's not true. Bad things happen to good people."
Oh, Jesus, Alan.
His basic faith in the world is broken. That's what it is.
It's all ruined.
Faith in how life works is
you can be a good person.
Nothing matters.
And the worst shit will still happen to you.
It can't get worse than this. Yeah. So late November 1986, right after this all happens, there's a hunting trip where Town is talking to Bork, his boss. And Bork says, we were walking along an old log road, and right out of the blue, Ed says something like, "I think the police are looking in the wrong direction for the murderer. They should be looking for someone in construction."
Why would he say something like that?
Yeah, he's like, "The fuck?" I tell you what, no, you walk ahead, Ed. Don't walk behind me anymore.
I'll be back here.
So finally here, December 2nd, 1 month after he's arrested for a month and change after he's arrested for his federal shit here, a warrant is issued to search his residence in Eden Mills, his new house that he's building. Oh. So they had searched his other house and found the rifles. Now, they issued the warrant based on the affidavit of a special agent of the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which referred to his October arrest. Now, December 3rd, they also talked to Paul Eder here, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she says that he purchased a .32 caliber handgun at a flea market in Waterbury on the same date she had purchased a .25 caliber automatic from a gun shop in Rochester. And they examined the purchases of the gun shop, and the date was determined to be July 27th, 1986. They also interview her son, Nelson North, he'll come up again, who said he was with Town when Town purchased the revolver in Waterbury. So, 2 people say this now. The investigation later revealed that John Tiemann of Barton sold the weapon to Town on July 27th, and he said he identified them because he had asked for identification, obviously. A description of North and Town was also given by the guy selling the gun. The gun was described as a .32 caliber revolver with a break-open front. Town, Lewis, and North went to Fay's gun shop in Rochester, where Town purchased ammunition for the gun. December 5th into the 6th here. Okay. They search his house. They find a spring and plunger mechanism in a locked box. We'll talk about that. That's to load a single shotgun, I believe.
Oh.
A 20-gauge shotgun barrel. These are all parts of guns.
Yeah.
a shitload of 22 caliber Winchester long rifle ammunition, a 30-30 Winchester rifle, another rifle, a Targa pistol, all this type of shit here. Okay. So this is all of these are another charge on his federal gun
it's just
charges.
more ammunition shit.
Stacking. So on December 5th, Blaze obtained two bullets that had been fired through the wall at his place of employment. What? Who bucks off gunshots at work? And you're allowed to do that.
Oh, he's waiting. Is he waiting for everybody to leave and then he's firing rounds, or is he doing when people are there?
What the fuck he's doing? But
how is there not a letter in his file in HR about that?
Don't let him take a gun in. They said that the Bork said that Town had fired 5 live rounds into the wall at work. Now,
why is he still employed?
That's the thing. What the fuck? Who the fuck keeps that guy there?
Oh, Bork's afraid, I guess.
One of the one of the bullets was identified as matching all 3 bullets removed from Paulette's body.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good at all. So Saturday night, December 6th, the state police get a search warrant to search his residence again, and a 32 caliber revolver is found. Another one.
Uh-oh.
Inside a concrete block in the foundation.
Oh, really?
He put it in a block and then was going to just
tuck it away.
Tuck it away. Yeah, why not? You put those cinder blocks,
sink it into the foundation. Nobody will ever find it.
That's it. But he hadn't finished doing that yet.
Oh no!
So the revolver was wrapped in an oily cloth and had 3 rounds, 3 spent fucking shells in the cylinder. She shot 3 times.
That's crazy.
It's the exact murder weapon.
And he just was going to bury the shells and the gun in the foundation.
That's it. And they show this was the gun used in the killing.
Yeah.
This is the murder weapon here. So it's a 32 caliber Smith & Wesson, and he's a fucking idiot. That's where he hit it.
Wow.
So December 7th, he's arrested again here, obviously. He's held bail on a $100,000 bail, which seems low even for this guy.
That's incredibly low for having the murder weapon and 3 rounds in it.
There's no shit. The public defender requests, and it is given, that he's ordered to be placed in the Vermont State Hospital in Waterbury, where he'll undergo a 60-day psychiatric evaluation to determine his competency.
Yeah.
He appeared at his hearings dressed in fucking overalls.
Get out of here.
He was in his work clothes. He's in his blue fucking work fucking overalls.
Yeah.
Overalls to court for the second time in small town murder history.
Unbelievable.
He could not look more like a guy who murdered a fucking 15-year-old when he walks into court. He's even got like an old-timey hat on that looks like a murderer hat. It's
Why would he
ridiculous.
do that?
He's like Ed Gein, he looks like, walking into court. Wow. He's big too. He's a big guy. He also had the name Ed over the pocket of his shirt as well.
Jesus Christ.
Which is fucking hilarious.
That's frightening. He
appeared fine. He sat there and sat with his arms folded, and he smiled as he signed his court papers for some reason.
Really?
I don't know what the hell he's smiling about. They ended up, the prosecutor praised the police, said, "I would like to express my thanks to the police, who it seems to me have worked 24 hours a day during the past week." Okay. I would hope so here. They did say, though, they have not concluded this investigation because Paulette's backpack and flute are still missing.
We don't know where they are.
Where the fuck are they?
What did you do?
What did you do? They never found them.
Really?
Never found it.
He wouldn't cough it up? Nobody would
cough it up. No. They also make a press conference because there's a couple other murders in the area.
Really?
And people are saying it's this guy. So at the press conference, Blaze said that Town had been ruled out as a suspect in 2 of the 3 unsolved homicides in this area. Said the police believed it was unlikely he was responsible for the murder of Sarah Hunter, a Manchester golf professional.
Okay.
So 2 of the bullets recovered from the wall match that's Champion Alternator and Starter Company. They matched the gun matches that they found in the deal. So 1987 January comes around, and they're talking about how everybody seems relieved, but now they're pissed off. So they're relieved but pissed off because they're relieved because this is an employee at the high school says, "I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times. I know how I'd feel if it were my daughter. I do commend the police. I think they've done an excellent job." So people were scared. Now they're not scared. Now they're pissed off because they have a place to. They had nowhere to point their rage before.
Yeah.
They were just scared it would happen to them. Now that they're
just
they have
pissed at him.
Yeah, now they're just mad. And a girl named Rosie, who's 13, who went to school with Paulette, said that while she was relieved that someone had been arrested, Paulette's death has made a permanent change in her friends. Sure. She said, I feel a lot better, but I think it's been a big change. Now where I live, when we go out, we are only allowed to go in pairs. So now they have to go in pairs, which is good anyway. That's good.
Yeah, why are you running around alone at 13?
It was the 80s, man.
Yeah, I know. I did it.
That's the problem. Yeah. I used to go wander off when I was like 4. I'd go wander off and just that pissed my parents off. So now his old prosecutor, who prosecuted him in 1980, said he was not surprised to hear that he was arrested for this.
Yeah.
He said it seemed pretty apparent to me that if he was released, he was going to do it again.
Yeah.
And he was released. So he said when he heard of the 15-year-old's disappearance this past September and the discovery of her body, he said, I immediately thought of Ed Town. He said he passed his fears along to police officials involved, and the police said, we're already thinking about him. Gotcha.
We got him, yeah.
We got that. So widespread outrage, obviously. Everybody wants to fucking kill this guy. They want to just go rip him apart, which is understandable. Yeah. He's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Paulette's parents want the death penalty back.
Really?
Yeah. Her father says, I believe the death penalty is a deterrent for the same reason I drive under the speed limit. Problem is speeding and killing aren't the same thing. No. We've done the math on this, and this isn't a fucking stance pro or for or whatever. It does nothing for deterrent factor.
No,
the murder rates do not drop when they implement the death penalty.
That's just a man really upset that he lost his daughter. I get
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Too, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And the other point is, even if you get the death penalty back, it doesn't fucking go retroactive to 5 years ago, and then everything that qualifies, we get to retry it. So if we get it back, this guy still gets to live in prison forever.
Yep. I mean, I totally get where this guy's coming.
I understand.
Alan, you can't. Jesus Christ, this poor bastard. I can't imagine what he's going through. So,
but he did it in fucking Florida. They have the death penalty there. He did it in fucking Tennessee. They have the death penalty there. He does this shit all over the place.
He doesn't care. So he said that imprisonment is not a valid alternative for protecting society because so many convicted killers are paroled. He said it's much easier to behave in prison than it is on the streets, which I don't think that's.
How
that
many
depends
convicted
on the person.
Killers are paroled?
I mean, a lot of them, but not usually on, child murders and shit like that.
Child murders and first degree.
Maybe then.
Sex predator and murder, that's fucking aggravator of life forever.
Yeah, no shit. He said in no case should a convicted murderer be allowed back on the streets. So in recent...
No case?
No case. That's kind of crazy. In some cases, you go, well, I mean, Jesus, he was 17. He robbed a liquor store like an idiot. I don't know.
Or they were holding a gun on him. I don't know.
Yeah. To nobody who kidnaps a 15-year-old and rapes and kills her should be allowed out.
Nobody thinks they should ever get out.
Nobody
believes that.
No one does.
Nobody believes that person is rehabilitative.
Never. So there's also criticisms of the sex offender program like crazy. The guy who ran it, this Turner guy, says he expects an onslaught of criticism about Town's early releases. Yeah. He says it's one of those things in a high-risk program like we have. The program is one of the best in the United States. I firmly believe that. I still do. Everyone in the program is feeling bad about this. A young girl was killed. We are not infallible.
Yeah,
at least he took it on the chin. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do, man? It's who thinks they can do this 100% of the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not.
That's impossible.
You can't do anything 100%.
No.
Like I said, Hall of Famer 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
The problem is if you don't hit every time, guys get left on base.
Yeah.
That's the worst that could happen.
I'll bet it's easier to hit a slider than it is to stop a man from rape and murdering on his own time.
On his own time is important there. So for the firearms violations, because they're going to try him first right away on that and get him locked up so then they can relax and take their time with the murder because he's locked up. He is charged with 2 counts of receiving and possessing a firearm after a prior felony conviction in violation of whatever code there, 3 counts of receiving and possessing a firearm and ammunition after a prior felony conviction in violation of another code, and also 3 counts of receiving and possessing a firearm and ammunition after a prior felony in violation of another code. There's a 3-day jury trial. He is found guilty on all counts except count 7, which is fine because it was like 9 counts, so that's fine. He is sentenced to, at that point, you, sir, may fuck off a total of 70 years in prison.
Terrific.
Just for having those guns.
Got him.
Fucked. He's fucked.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could still get parole, and you don't want this guy out ever, so we got to try him for murder here.
Have to, yeah.
But it's a little easier to breathe because you know you can chill here. January 1989 is the murder trial, so it's a couple years they wait. There's now, during jury selection, there's new info that stops jury selection in its fucking tracks, which is...
What is that?
Hard. This was the 4th day of jury selection, and they said 19 Bennington County residents, 14 of whom had passed through the first 2 rounds of questioning, were sequestered at the Paradise Motor Inn for the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Jesus. Hey, listen, can I get my own hotel room? I understand we're sequestered, but I'm not staying at the Paradise Motor Inn.
Can I book it?
That name sounds sarcastic, but let's call it Paradise. So
you can't put those words together and convince anybody, that's for sure.
That's really paradise. So the jury selection here was suspended late Friday afternoon after the prosecution brought to light new information that may partially absolve town of guilt. This is exculpatory information that the prosecution brings out because they have to. Otherwise, it's a fucking violation.
Mistrial, yeah.
So the information is not direct evidence, they said. They told the court, but fourth-hand hearsay, but they still had to bring it up.
Okay. What is
so that? It's something somebody said. They also added, this is the state's attorney here, that the hearsay offered by 2 witnesses in the case is inculpatory in nature. So they're saying it makes him more guilty.
Yeah.
Or it may it's inculpatory not necessarily to him, but it may implicate another person in the murder.
Got it. Okay.
So
an alternate suspect.
So the district judge reluctantly agreed to adjourn at the request of the state's attorney, who said that the defense town's attorney, who said that the defense needed time to investigate this information. They had planned to work into the evening selecting the final jurors and be done and ready to fucking go Monday. Yeah. But now they have to wait till Monday to finish this. So they said, we must ask for a full weekend to investigate it. We don't know what's going to happen Monday morning after a weekend of investigation. Yeah. They said this is going to help his alibi defense and also implicate others in the crime, including an inmate, a prison inmate here named Joseph Callahan, who allegedly confessed to the murder. Okay. They're saying, we got a guy confessing to this shit. He's
isn't just already
other
in
evidence.
Jail,
So the trial starts. They find out that's bullshit, and it's still this guy. He must have buried it in your foundation of your house.
You put that gun in there.
Now, this trial is the first major Vermont trial to be filmed. So
really?
This is now no sketch, people. This is video cameras broadcasting live and still cameras as well.
Incredible.
So this is a big deal. This is a 2-year experiment that's going to be overseen by the Vermont Supreme Court. One still photographer, 1 camera operator per court may record proceedings as long as they are quiet and do not disturb anything.
Wonderful.
Can't be fucking around being like, somebody, hey, memory card change.
Anybody have an extra battery?
Who's dumping footage? Come on. Who's the dump guy today? Who's got batteries? Let's go. 9 volts, come on. So during the opening, the state's attorney, Janet Murnane, told the jury that the state witnesses would tell the story of a horrific yet real crime. Yeah. She says, we are here about a murder. It's not a film, and it's not a show you can turn off when it begins to frighten you or make you sad. It's real life.
Yes.
No shit. That's our actual motto for this show.
Yeah.
This isn't something that you can turn off when it begins to frighten you or make you sad. It's real life.
Keep it going.
So we tell. That would be way less popular. Way less popular than shut up and give me murder, I feel like. I feel like we're a little more snappy. You know what I mean? Just a little bit more.
This is real life.
It's real life, bitch, is a lot different. Yeah. Cheer up, bitch. It's real life isn't as good. So one of his court-appointed attorneys countered that the state was prosecuting the wrong man in his opening. He said, "You only have one piece of evidence at this point, and that's Edward Town is presumed, that is that Edward Town is presumed innocent. My client, Edward Town, did not kill Paulette Crickmore. Edward Town is not only presumed innocent, Edward Town is innocent.
Is that right?
That's what he said. Yeah, he said suspicion against the real suspicion you're going to find is against actually Town's girlfriend's son, Mr. North, Nelson North. He's the guy you want to look at. That's who put that gun there. Is him. Yeah. He said that she's going to testify to try to clear her son, but they said this, that's the girlfriend. They said this, the defense, a young man who hates Mr. Town, a young man who will take the stand and lie to save his own skin.
Is that right?
That's him, boy. Now, his past criminal record, he's been busted, too. He has a criminal record. Not quite as...
extensive, prolific, impressive.
As prolific and
horrifying
as Ed. But his is, he once drove with a suspended license.
Oh, is that right?
Not quite the same criminal records, but the defense is like, he's got a criminal record.
It's a bad man.
He's a terrible man. He might have not fucking...
It's a real
renewed his
boogeyman.
license in time.
Forgot to renew it.
Forgot to pay his ticket once or some shit. So they said that the defense is not obligated to find the real murderer also. He said, even though there's a television here, this is not Perry Mason. Someone is not going to stand up in the back of the courtroom, raise their right hand and shout, I did it, I did it. The issue is whether or not there exists a possibility in your mind that someone else did it. We all must acknowledge the tragedy and the shame of this senseless taking of life, but we must not compound that tragedy or reinforce that shame by convicting Mr. Town of a murder he didn't commit.
Yeah.
Duh. Jeez. So Blaze testifies here, and in cross-examination, the defense attempts to discredit him by pointing out discrepancies between his written reports and courtroom testimony. According to the defense, Blaze wrote in his report that Town possibly was on the Jericho Road the morning of Crickmore's murder. Then when they asked him if Blaze had a personal hatred for Ed, in his last question, Allen asked Blaze whether he had told another officer he'd like to wire Town's genitals to a railroad track. Is it true that you said... That's very creative. I got to give him credit, too. He told us, I'd like to wire his balls to a railroad track. That's awesome. Well, how would you not
Pretty
say
impressive.
that?
Yeah.
Everybody listening right now, how many of you would love to wire his genitals to a railroad track? I would say it's in the 99th percentile. It's everybody.
With barbed wire. I want to use that.
Yeah, as damaging as it could be. Jesus. So then Donald Bork testifies. That's Ed's boss here. He testifies that he turned informant for detectives that after a while.
Really?
That's what he was doing. He was the one who found the 2 bullets that helped tie him to the murder. That's how they found him. Yeah. And during the more than 2 hours he was on the stand, Donald Bork testified that Town came to work with scratches on his face shortly after she disappeared on her way to school. That's not good. No. That's terrible. He also described Town's distress upon hearing the radio news that the body was found. Quote, as the radio announcement about Crickmore came on, Ed turned around and turned up the radio. And as he was listening, he looked straight down at his bench and he listened to the whole thing. And when it was done, he turned off the radio. Then we made eye contact and it seemed he changed. Like, uh-oh. He also testified that Town laughed while telling him about how the girl's body was discovered. Okay. What the hell's funny about that? He said, the very next day Ed opened up the shop that morning. He said to me, you know how they found that girl? Well, a hunter was going up through the woods and he said, gee, there's a perfectly good set of jeans. And then Ed started laughing. He was making jokes about it.
Like that guy thought he had a new pair of jeans.
Like dark jokes.
Yeah.
Like dark fucking jokes like cops make at murder scenes. Well, they usually don't make them at 15-year-old girls rape and murder scenes. That's the difference here. Yeah. You do that when you find a crack dealer who was in a beef with another crack dealer dead. You go, well, I don't know. He's never going to chance. Those are some expensive Jordans for a guy who ain't going to use them, like shit like that. But not now.
Those are brand new. What a waste.
Yeah.
Is that a brand new tattoo?
What is that? Oof. It's not. Look, it's not even done yet. Look at that.
Not
He's
even
still got to do more shading.
Could have been a bad tattoo.
He's got shading to do. Fuck this guy.
That artist got paid. The defense attorney, though, hasn't made in the shade here. Now, you can turn it and make it look like Bork did it. Bork's the one that's handing you over bullets. Bork's the one that says that he knew where the body was. Bork's saying all this, he knows shit.
But they're pointing it at Nelson North instead, though.
Unbelievable.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Wow.
So they were the two bullets here. Like they said, they matched. They brought that up. Yeah. And they said, they asked him, why did you look inside your business? And he said, well, because Ed was a pack rat. Ed, I believe, saved everything. The man didn't throw anything away. The more I thought about it, the more I thought it was possible the murder weapon was in the shop. He said, I went back to work and Mr. Town told me there was a girl missing in Richmond, and I got a weird feeling about it at the time. So they bring in shrinks here, psychiatrist, expert witnesses for the state. Here, the one guy is Dr. William Woodruff. He's a psychiatrist and a consultant to the corrections department. He said the Town was depressed and angry and felt rejected, but he's not insane. His defense is insanity or somebody else did it.
Really?
That's his defense. He's crazy and innocent. So he said he's a disturbed man. He is someone who is psychosexually disturbed.
Psychosexually disturbed.
How'd you like to have a man with doctor before his name say that in front of a television camera? He's a disturbed man, that Jimmie Whisman. He's someone who's psychosexually disturbed. Like, oh, God, that's terrible.
Don't say it.
Shut
like
up.
That.
Stop saying it.
I knew it.
Damn it. Fuck, I knew something was wrong with me. Jesus Christ.
That explains so much.
Oh, man. He says Mr. Town came from the bottom of the socioeconomic barrel. It was a very disturbed family setting. Oh. So there you go. There's another thing there. While attempting to do this is very interesting. There is a photograph from a surveillance camera at the bank. He went to the bank here with what appeared to be a revolver sticking out of his back pocket.
Uh-oh.
So they're fighting to see whether this photo is allowed in because it looks like there's a revolver, but they don't know for sure.
Yeah.
So the defense objected, obviously, saying that there's an invitation for conjecture, but shows no clear evidence of him carrying a gun. The judge ruled admit the photographs, and it's up to the jury to decide whether they think it's a gun in his pocket or not.
Really?
Yeah, he said, I agree the photographs speak for themselves. It would be a determination of fact for the jury to make, not me. They can decide what they think is in his pocket, which sounds gross for this guy especially, but they mean a gun. So the defense here, they only present two witnesses, and then they rest their case.
Really? Yep.
One, and neither of them are him. No, wow. God, you're going to put this fucking idiot on the stand? Jesus Christ.
This is interesting.
One told the jury that Town bought gas at a South Burlington gas station on the morning she disappeared. The other witness, an FBI agent, testified that hair samples from Town's pickup truck did not match Crickmore's.
Okay, so he wasn't there, and it doesn't have her blonde hair or brown hair in his truck.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, okay. They also blamed the girlfriend's son, Nelson North. That's the big thing. They said he had access to the weapon and lied when questioned about the killing. Which I don't know. Okay. They also said that he took this. North had taken the stand, and they obviously accused him on the stand, and he denied it. He said he helped Town build the cinder block foundation where the gun was found, but he was working on a roof in Winooski on the day that Crickmore vanished. He's like, I was on a fucking roof. You can ask other people who saw me standing above them.
Yeah.
If you're up that high, it even makes you less likely to be able to commit the murder because you're on a fucking roof.
I'm stowed away.
Yeah, there he is. Everyone can glance up there. Yeah. You can't get off the roof without people noticing. So he said, I don't know anything about that. A property owner near there who hired North also said that he didn't want to pay North that day because he said, I couldn't tell. I could tell they didn't do 8 hours of work. So they were saying, well, there you go. There's a guy saying you didn't do 8 hours of work that day. Yeah. He just said, I looked at the job and said I could tell they quit early. But the bookkeeper for this guy said that that she saw North on the roof at about 11 a.m., covered in tar, and appeared to have been doing a substantial amount of work for the last 2 hours.
He'd been hot mopping for a while.
You could tell that he's been up there. So, he's the 29-year-old son of Paul Eder Lewis, who lived with Town. So she must be. He's 20. Okay, Town is 34. And his girlfriend's son is 29.
29?
29.
What the fuck?
How old is his girlfriend? I don't fucking know, but
she's got to be at least 44.
At least. Who knows? The defense also tried to show that North resented the relationship he had with his mother because they were around the same age. And Another move to implicate North was the introduction of a Vermont car registration in which he claimed he bought a car from town on September 11th, 86. The purchase actually was made before Paulette vanished, and North got rid of the car soon after. Okay. So they're like, see, he picked her up and fucking dumped the car. And he said, quote, hey, I go through cars like I go through water.
Really?
I'm just
8 a day?
8 a day. That is fucking amazing.
What a terrible thing to say. Nobody believes that.
Banging them out. 8 glasses of cars a day. He said that his alibi was also bolstered when a Richmond police officer, under cross-examination by the district attorney, said that Jericho Road would be out of the way for someone going from central Richmond to Winooski, which is where he was working.
Unless you're a predator, and that's a great reason to be down there.
That'd be terrific. Now, in the closing arguments, the prosecutor said the state had presented a shitload of circumstantial evidence, including the fact that he owned the gun used to kill him. It's a single shot pistol, by the way.
What?
It's a .32 caliber single shot.
So the 3 shells were wrapped up in the oily cloud.
In the oily rag. He saved
not
them.
Even what the fuck?
Like a fucking idiot. He saved. I guess because he figured he didn't want the evidence to be
so
out there.
So it's not
a
revolver. It's a plug it in, flip it closed, pop.
Yep.
Open it up, take it out, plug it in, flip it closed. What the fuck, man?
While a girl is writhing for her life on the ground.
Oh, my God.
The prosecutor said, open, load, fire, open, load, fire, open, load, fire. That's what he had to do to kill her.
And keep the fucking shell so that nobody has. Unbelievable.
He said it was a single-shot pistol. The killer had to pry out the bullet, reload, and fire a second, then a third time. It was a cold-blooded, premeditated murder. There's only one verdict you can come back with in this case of horrendous violence, and that verdict is guilty. Now, his lawyer said the evidence failed to show that Town had killed Paulette.
Really?
They also tried to show that it could be Nelson North. So, come on. Judge tells the jurors that they could either find him guilty of first-degree murder or find him not guilty. There is nothing in the middle. That's it. The prosecution had planned to ask the jurors be given the opportunity to find him guilty of either first or second-degree murder, but withdrew the request after objections by the defense lawyers.
Really?
So it's all or nothing here. Which I think if you think he did it, it's fucking pre-planned. I mean,
she's dead with that gun. He has the gun. What are you gonna do, man?
Yeah. So
with a history of this kind of shit, and if you silence them and kill them, then you don't go to prison. Look at
that.
The answer is right on the tip. I mean, it's right there.
You don't have what happened to me before happen again.
Yeah.
So the judge explains to the jurors they need to be sure beyond all reasonable doubt. He said that beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean beyond all doubt. It does mean that the proof is so convincing that you would not hesitate to act on it in your own personal lives or the lives of your family. Suspicion alone does not constitute reasonable doubt. So would you murder a guy over this or not is basically it. So the judge told the jurors that the burden of proof is with the state, obviously, and the jurors should not view Town's refusal to testify and to provide hair samples as evidence against him, because he didn't want to provide hair samples either. Okay. Yeah. They said Town is presumed innocent. He doesn't have to prove he's innocent. The state has to prove he's guilty. So there you go. Yeah. He kept saying, he said, convict him of first-degree murder. They must find the state has proven all the 4 essential elements of the case. If not, they said he has to be, first, he killed her. Second, he did so willfully. Third, with malice, a forethought, and fourth, with premeditation. Find only 3 elements, and it must be not guilty.
Wow.
Because it's first or nothing.
Yeah.
So if they think he didn't plan it, but they think he did it, they got to find him not guilty.
Not guilty. Oh, boy.
That's wild. So, he's already in for 70 years, but still.
Yeah.
So they said that the malice aforethought deals with the intent at the time of the killing, a callous, wanton disregard for human life. Malice is a condition of heart or mind. It can only be determined by inference. Premeditation requires a period of time in which the accused thinks things over. No fixed amount of time is involved. To me, if you're driving her to the woods and you have a gun and you end up shooting her, you drove her out there to shoot her, that whole drive is your premeditation.
That's all done on purpose. Yeah.
I don't care if you weren't planning on killing someone until you saw her. Yeah. Then you went, I'll grab her. As soon as you grabbed her, you were going to kill her, and you knew it. That's what fucking happened. So, or she fought him because she had scratches. So she might have just been like, I ain't having any of this shit.
Yeah.
She didn't say like, oh, I'll go along with it. She said, I'm 15 and get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
And he might have just shot her after that. Said, fuck it, it's not worth it. So the deliberations were going on for 3.5 hours before the judge calls it and sends them to the Paradise Motor Inn fucking hotel for the night.
Go have a sleep.
Yep. So the jury's scheduled to come back and deliberate again the next day. The next day, they reach a verdict.
Yeah.
Here we go, everybody. The verdict here is guilty of first-degree murder.
Okay.
They do find him guilty. Yeah. So during sentencing, the judge dismisses any notion of rehabilitation for him at all.
It's impossible.
Yeah, he said that town has no compassion or feeling of any kind in the death of Paulette Crickmore. He said, quote, this is one of those rare cases which calls for life, which really means life. The whole state of Vermont, in a small way, was traumatized by this event. Yeah. You, sir, may fuck off. Life without parole.
It's over for him.
Eat all plus 70 fucking federal. Eat every dick possible,
Keep
you
chewing.
fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Sore.
Yeah. So he continued to deny the charge.
That's the part that makes it the judge's words 100% true.
That's it right there. He continued to deny.
Yeah.
Afterwards, when they took him out, he was asked by reporters, town was, about the sentence. And he said, it would have been nice if I was guilty.
It would have been nice.
Yeah, it would have been a great sentence if I was guilty, but I'm not.
Oh.
So, meh. Now, according to one juror, they talked to the jurors, early in deliberations, the lack of direct evidence actually raised a doubt about his guilt to them.
Really?
This wasn't all guilt, because, 3.5 hours is longer than this takes if everyone's in agreement. So, and then they went to a hotel and came back the next day. So they said, so did the defense claims that Nelson North, who could have had access to the gun and whose alibi was not airtight, and also who had fought with town, they didn't get along. They said it's very possible he was the killer, they thought. Yeah. They said, but it was a process of elimination, one juror said. They said, we determined that Town was the only person that had access to the weapon. He was the only person that had a long period of time unaccounted for, which was from 7:30 a.m. in the day in question, when Town's girlfriend said that he dropped her off at the Shelburne Museum, to 9:40 p.m. when he got cash from a South Burlington bank machine.
That's the whole goddamn day.
It's 14 hours. That's a long time of being unaccounted for. You can do a lot in 14 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You can
get
kill
my whole
10
life
people.
back together. Yeah.
Yeah, 14 hours is big time. And she was last seen 8:20 a.m., so plenty of time in there. Yeah. North said he spent the day tarring the roof, and obviously there was contradictory evidence as to what hours he worked, but the witness placing him there late morning covered in tar and looking tired from working, they believed that.
Yeah.
They said the jurors decided it made no sense to think North could go from his Richmond home up Jericho Road, the wrong route to where he was going, pick up a girl, kill her, dump the body in another place in the woods, then race to be seen at work covered in tar by 11:05. That's a tough sell.
It's almost
much
impossible.
Easier. Yeah. Much easier it's the guy who has a history of this, plenty of opportunity, and then had the gun in his pocket at the end of the night. Maybe there. So in 1998, he wants to prove his innocence.
Really?
1998, he's got a campaign to overturn the conviction. And he said, I will keep going till I prove I'm innocent, he says in a jail interview.
Really?
Absolutely. He said he didn't do it. It maintained his innocence. It's ridiculous. And he's in there. So he didn't do it. All 2002, he now appeals saying his plea agreement was breached. Remember the warrant that was supposed to be squashed?
Yeah.
This is becoming an issue. He said he's seeking damages for the state's alleged breach of plea agreement. The damages were not available, not an available remedy for the alleged breach of agreement. So they're like, we're not going to dismiss a murder trial over that, basically, over the bad search for the guns. That's the most you're going to get out of that. So they said that even if the state had engaged in misrepresentation, as plaintiff claimed, he did not suffer a legally cognizable injury. So it's not legally hurting him. So then he appealed that, and the trial court concludes that damages are not available remedy for that again. So this is what he was suing for. to obviously,
Overturn the
redo his
sentence,
case, and $140 million in damages and injuries. $140 million.
You're literally a rapist and
That
good for a
is
crime like this. But we can't say that? Is that what he's saying?
$140 million. They hurt me. So 2006, there are more area rapes, and the controversy over the sentencing of him has caused a lot of debate over punishment, treatment, and victims' rights. There was a guy named Mark Hewlett who got a 3-year sentence for child molestation. And they said this case claims needs for stiffer laws that protect victims. And they talk about one of those people now is Alan Crickmore. He's involved in this whole thing.
Really?
And he's saying he hasn't talked about his daughter's death much in the last 20 years, but he has to speak out that this is going now. Sure. He said it goes by very slow. You think about it every day. I've always felt that if he had been kept longer, my daughter might still be alive. Well, yeah, they wouldn't have crossed paths. Yeah. That's a fact. So he said that he's speaking out about the sentencing of the Mark Hewlett guy. He said it hurts. It hurts to see a sentence like that doesn't do justice to the victims of the victims or the families. The judge originally gave the guy a minimum sentence of 60 days in jail for raping a young girl for years.
Holy. That
way, Hewlett could get immediate sex offender treatment. How about do your time, then we'll get you sex offender treatment on the end of your time.
Or put him in jail for a while and give him a sentence that'll teach him a lesson, but also while he's in there, have a sex offender treatment.
Have all of it. Yeah. So the judge increased the sentence to a minimum of 3 years, though. And Allen said it's still not good enough. A 3-year sentence, man, that's outrageous. Nothing really angered me as much as this sentence, and I felt compelled to come out of that shell and say, wait a minute, folks, something's got to be done here. A minimum of 25 years would keep them off the streets and keep them away from our kids. If he had guidelines he was forced to go by, it would have made his decision easier and a whole lot better for everybody else. Sure. He also says the state needs to provide better treatment for sex offenders. He said they must be kept in jail until there's a way to guarantee they won't offend again. Well, that's impossible.
What are you going to do?
You'll never get that. You don't know what's in someone's mind.
You can't bat 1,000.
That's crazy. He agrees with some lawmakers and police who are calling for civil commitment. That would allow the state to hold the most dangerous offenders even after their jail terms are up for as long as they feel that they're not that they're a danger. But also if they feel they're not a danger, they can let them out. So that's the problem. But he's got life without parole. So Edwin, it doesn't matter.
And if you have a person determining whether or not somebody's dangerous, eventually they're going to fall prey to a manipulator who creates an illusion that they're fine, and that person is going to do bad shit.
Some people seem fine.
Yeah.
What was the guy who wrote that book, Into the Belly of the Beast book? He wrote it. He was a famous guy in the 70s, I believe. He was a prisoner that wrote this book that was this beloved book that was all about prison, and he got all these people, lawmakers, celebrities.
Yeah.
People came to his cause to get him released because he's a changed man and he's an artist now and he's doing all these great things. They got his sentence reduced. He gets out and immediately was in a restaurant, got in an argument and stabbed a waiter to death. Immediately. Within a year of him being out. So it's it sucks. And then some people, they're fine. They never bother anybody again. You never know. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So 2009, he appeals again, and that appeal goes by the wayside.
Okay.
From 2011 to 2013, he's trying to get DNA testing done. He wants to use modern DNA testing technology that's developed a lot to reanalyze hair evidence from the case. They said that in 2011, he requested that hairs found on Paulette's body be tested for mitochondrial DNA. If the results matched neither her nor him, he asked that the authorities be ordered to obtain a sample from
the guy that found the body.
No, the girlfriend's son. Yeah.
See,
Nelson
he really wants Nelson in prison for this.
Because he's the only one who could have possibly had access to the gun. He can't pin it on anybody else.
Yeah. So, the gun matters.
It's him or nothing. So after reviewing the evidence, the court rejects his testing request and granted the state's motion for summary judgment because the petitioner could not show reasonable probability that DNA results from the hair would have resulted in a different outcome at trial. Yeah. They said that they could not compel the son to produce a sample. He's not under arrest or anything. But it held that even if the son voluntarily did it, or if the son's DNA was already present in the DNA computer registry for comparison, all that can be said with a reasonable doubt is that the DNA evidence shows that the son's hair was present at the scene, which would be a point in favor of the defense, but not enough to overturn anything.
It doesn't slam dunk it because Nelson also lives in your house, and that hair could have been on your body.
There you go. Could have fell off your jacket right on to where it's very possible. Everywhere I've been, there's a trail of Frankie's hair. My dog.
Yes,
there's white hairs everywhere from that. So that's how that goes. So they said the presence of the hair would only open a range of possible explanations without excluding the guy who's already convicted. So they said, as a part of his request for this, he posits that his ex-girlfriend's son had all the means and opportunity. And that's what he's talking about. So the high court ruled that he had not shown a high probability that even if the evidence had appeared to be in his favor, it would result in the conviction being overturned. Right. It said there was other strong evidence in the case. So he appeals that appeal.
Oh, my God.
And contends that the trial court misapprehended the applicable standard and for granting post-conviction relief, and the DNA's results would, in fact, lead to a reasonable possibility and probability of a more favorable outcome, and they tell him to get fucked again and keep on keeping on, dickhead. So 2018, he's in a federal penitentiary in Adelanto, California.
Really?
Yes, for the gun charges. He still belongs to the feds at that point. So he hasn't even started his fucking murder thing yet. So he can get that overturned. They're still going to hang on to him for a while.
He still weren't supposed to have a gun, man.
So he's fucking with the Vermont Supreme Court, who upholds a decision to reject his recent complaint that he did not have proper access to legal materials. He said he needs access to legal materials to work on his appeals, and they told him, fuck off, basically. Here, they said you don't get the library unless you can prove you need a library, but you can't prove that you need one unless you have access to one. But tough shit. He's in there, fuck off, and he's staying in there. So he's never getting out, thankfully, for the rest of the world.
That man is going to sit there and file appeal after appeal for the rest of his shitty days.
Got nothing better to do.
Do it. I dare you.
Not shit to do. So if you enjoyed that story, which is a horrible story, if you enjoyed our telling of that story, tell the world about it like we just told you about this. Get on whatever app you're listening on and give a review. Give us 5 stars. Say something because it helps drive up the algorithm. It's a weird thing. I don't care what you say. Say anything. Tell us your favorite condiment. That's a fun one. What is your favorite sandwich condiment? And why is it not mayonnaise? There you go. So tell us that. And if it is, tell us why. Either way, do that on whatever app you're listening on. Also, tell everyone you know. Help share the show. Tell your friends, most of all. Talk to people on social media. I can't tell you how much it's so much easier to get people to listen to the show if a friend tells them they like it.
Right.
It's just easier.
That's your pal.
So do that. Help us out. It really, really does help a lot. So thank you for doing that. Follow us on social media. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, and you'll find them all on there. Or Small Town Pod on Facebook, whatever. So
it's on the website.
It's on the website, which is shutupandgivememurder.com.
There you go.
Which is where you get tickets to live shows, baby. Live shows, full slate of live shows for 2024, which is only 12, and 2 of them are sold out already. Right. Phoenix and Nashville, your ass out. I apologize. Phoenix, Christ, they even sold our fucking comps in Phoenix. I got to figure out a way to get my family in there now. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for doing that. Get your tickets early. Really get them early. Like we said, even Boston and New York in December are already selling.
Unbelievable.
Very fast. So get your tickets there. April 5th and 6th are our first shows. Sacramento, San Francisco. You're on the clock right now, guys. And our biggest show of all time could be in Minneapolis.
It might be.
If you sell this venue out, it will be our biggest show we've ever done. Previously, it was Chicago. Don't you? Would you rather have us say?
Amazing if they do.
What's your biggest show? Chicago or Minneapolis? Come on, Minneapolis. You know what the answer to that is.
It's the Midwest.
It's there. Sell that out. A big difference, though, there, especially people in Minneapolis. They don't want to be compared. So there you go, shutupandgivememurder.com. Also look out on shutupandgivememurder.com because this month the tickets for the virtual live show are going on sale.
It's gonna be
we'll have an exact date for you next week. But virtual live show, it is 420, obviously, the virtual live show. We're going to dress up. I have bought all sorts of weird shit to smoke out of that Jimmie will be terrified of, honestly.
I'll be shocked of. Yeah.
And it's our regular crazy live murder show as well, with all the pictures that you normally get, and it's a goddamn blast. It's a big party. Yeah. Everybody talks in the comments. Hang out. If you haven't done it before, do it this time because it's so much fun. We'll get into all of that. Also, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, little show note here, they did an update, and what it did is stop shit from automatically downloading. So if you like your shows to automatically download, like our show, if you go, where the fuck is it? Go into the settings in there and make sure that your Apple Podcasts has it's set on automatically download. That way all the shows will download. So there you go. Do that. Patreon.com.
Oh, boy.
/Crime in Sports is where you get all of the bonus materials. And you go, what's Crime in Sports? That's our other show that you should be listening to. And listen to your stupid opinions while you're at it. But patreon.com /Crime in Sports, all the bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get a huge back catalog, couple hundred plus episodes, new episodes every other week, one Crime in Sports, one Small Town Murder, and they're all yours, baby.
Absolutely.
This week, what we're talking about for Crime in Sports, we're going to talk about the strangest injuries in sports history, which is a lot of fun and weird and crazy. Then for Small Town Murder, one of the favorites, it's back by popular demand, old-timey murders, where we dip into the newspaper archives and go into like the late 1800s, early 1900s and get some weird shit that people do to each other that the paper is ultra graphic about. So really fun stuff. That is patreon.com /Crime in Sports. And in addition to that, you get a shout out where Jimmie fucks up your name. And guess when you get that shout out?
Right now.
Right, motherfucking now. Jimmie, hit me with the names of the most wonderful people that we could possibly hope for and imagine to have.
This week's executive producer, Jordan Bennett, Alina Montroy. Happy birthday, Alina. Happy
birthday. Hell yeah.
Alina? I don't know. Nathan Schrage. You guys are fantastic. Truly, thank you for going above and beyond. You don't have to do as much as you do, and you do it fucking anyway, amazing. And we got to fucking say thank you.
You're incredible.
Other producers this week are Liz Vasquez, Janice Hill, Rebecca Sorensen, Adkins Acres, Golden Retriever Pups. Hey, thank you.
Oh,
Golden Retrievers, that's me. You Suck Wang also, James, is a person who donated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suck Wang, James. You do.
I do?
I don't know. That's
whoever does?
Whoever wrote it.
Oh, that's
all right. Schmooples, Devourer of Mortal Souls.
Hey, listen, you ask Wang, and he's going to tell you how good it is, so go fuck yourself.
Stuffer Cole, Tuna Casserole. Oh, boy. All right. Ben Goats, Jennifer Souter, I think. C-Stir. C, the letter C, and then S-T. Oh, C-Stir. C-Stir.
This episode brought to you by the letter C.
And your sister. Alasia, Creestar, Darling, Edgington. Robin would know last name. Jay would know last name. Haley Bright. Zach Nicholas. Vicky Spooey. No, Suey. Yikes. Sorry about that.
Messed that one up good.
Who says gross? Kayla Boyles, Hannah Jurgens, Nikki Coakley, James Rasmussen, Darren would know last name, Brandon Eisenbacher, Nicole Wright, Cecil would know last name, also Cecil Brown. Probably the same person. I can't imagine.
Dual Cecils.
Two Cecils signed
Only
up.
one
Thank you,
Cecil. Fight to the death, Cecils.
You having two of these. You're a darling.
One Cecil, dominate the other one.
Alyssa Ilchert. There may only be one. T. Nani Chus. Noni?
There can only be one, Jimmie.
Yes, there can only be one. Sydney Hunter, Carl Zart, Shannon Lath, Sean Dwyer, Paulo. How do you say that, James? Paulo, right?
Paulo?
P-A-O-L-O.
Yes,
P-A-O-L-O. Yeah,
Paulo.
Right? Yeah. Turco. Jeremy Gaeta. Victoria Darnell. Hunter would know last name. Kim would know last name. Caitlin Lackey. Casey Hostert. Aimcoes would know last name. Dana Hunter. Sydney would know last name. Trina Monismith. Jamie Cunningham. Roman Massey. Jarrett Fowlers. Nope, that's Flowers. Kristen House. Kelly Magapat. Jana Kopecky, Lowell Stevens, Rowdy McElfresh, Lacey Jones, Phelan Gilligan, Jesus, motherfuck, Melissa McClay, Katie Dione, Lane with no last name. Allen with no last name. Hillary Polito. Aurora with no last name. Diane Ringel. Deezy Chavez. Steph Queck. Joseph Bruto. Lindsay Richardson. April Criswell. Robin Swain. Bailey Hurst. Nicole with no last name. Rob with no last name. Alyssa Morris. A. Casey. War Wolf. Moira Speroni. JJ with no last name. Mike Literate. You son of a bitch. Mike Litteris. Okay. Angie McCord, Laura Davis, Leah Pyle, Soul
Better
Bleach.
than Hunt, I guess.
It is, yeah. Bill Schmansky, Alex Lenz, Ernest Banks. Oh, is that right? Ernie, Jeff Hendren, Shauna Nelson, Jeff with no last name, Hillary Ocker, Eric Ferris, Al Bundy's love child, Stephanie Roy Harrow Leon, Toy Thomas Loit, Christy Pappas, Sean, nope, that's Sarah, Treese, Sean and Sarah, same thing. Spencer Clark, Nate Gross Nicholas, that's St. Nicholas's terrible brother. Angelica French,
not as nice.
Francaschini's, Miss Tess.
He steals Amazon packages off your porch.
Rather than leaving gifts, that's Gross Nicholas.
Bizarro Santa. Sorry.
Gabrielle McClanahan, Rue's other kid. Adam.
Rue's child there.
Adam Beard, Melissa Altman, Eli Buzajor, Avery Brown, Dylan Ellis, Pamela with no last name, Santa Sillen Pa, what? Carla Walsh, Punky Brewster, okay, Eileen Chiasan.
Nice to see she's back.
It's been a while. Paris Morse, there was a run of like mischievous girls. There was her and Pippi Longstocking and
Punky.
It was a good time.
Yeah, mischievous orphan girls.
Just being little shits.
Super orphans all the time. Orphans were big in the 80s.
They really were.
Webster, Different Strokes, Punky, there's fucking pound them out.
Broken Homes. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Lana Finnegal, Wad. What is this name?
Yom Kippur Wong?
Long Fanatical. Lon Fanatical. Lon Fanigal? Fangel. All
I thought you said Yom Kippur Wong. I was like, that's the strangest name I've ever heard.
As close as I'll ever get to
half
this.
Jewish, half Chinese. That's
Listen,
me. How's
Wales.
everybody doing?
They know who they are. It's a lot of W's, N's, and G's.
Yes.
Fabulous 35, Tess Schaefer, Kaylee Ashenfelter. Yikes. Pete Petticone. Kate the Great, James Coccaro, Hannah Kelly, Michelle Roberts, Katie Baker, Bex Wagner, David Lisa, Ashton Lambeth, Tiara Marie, Jen with no last name, Alana Hall, Nick Burkett, Caitlin Euchre. I hope you're related to Bob. That'd be amazing. Joshua
awesome.
Gifford, I wish. God damn it, I wish. Chevy with no last name. Adam Norbudas. Probably. Nikki Doches. Courtney Hish. Devin Marie. Bree with no last name. Angela Feeder. Chris Freese maybe. Chelsea Schroner. All right. Joshua Fisher. Austin D. Scotty Barber. Alexis Pedragon, Joe Talberg, Lance from Quitman, Abby with no last name, Killian Long Ross, Athy, Kaylin Chastain, Money Muscle, Carol Abbas, and all of our patrons. Obviously, you guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. God damn it, we love you guys so much for all you do for us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Keep hanging out with us. You can, if you want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com, drop down menu. Links are all there. Have fun. Keep coming back. Keep seeing us. Get your tickets. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.